I die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
I could do that.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're having a good one. I'm sorry, I love that video. I saw that yesterday, and I thought it was brilliant having gas and diesel truck drivers hanging out with the Tesla guys in the Lord of the Ring reference. So I had to play it. Anyway, lots to talk about today. I probably don't want to go into this right away, but CERN Basher met with Herbert a while ago, and they were talking about like what he believes for the base case and the 1-year delay on Robotaxi and Optimus and no Optimus and faster Optimus ramp. And he's got numbers that are up to 60x returns, 70x returns from where we are right now on Tesla stock price between now and 2030. That'll blow your fucking mind. I do believe on the very, very lowest of low ends that a 10 to 20x would be applicable for Tesla between now and 2030, which again is like no slouch. If I can pull off my goal of hitting $20 million this year in my portfolio, which I'm a ways off from, if I can pull that off, if we accomplish some of the goals that he's talking about here and we hit this high mark on by 2030, I would be worth $1.26 billion. So it's crazy to even think about. It's really nuts. But I do believe there's huge opportunity ahead for Tesla, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. So I do have, I wanted to talk to some of the plans that I had too, but I wanted to talk about just kind of broader thoughts. One thing, I'll probably go back here real quick. I'll go back to the Trump section because Scott Bessent had another interview. He did it with the All In podcast, and it was beautiful right here. So I shared this out. You definitely need to take a look at it. I've said this for a while. Again, we have FOMC today. That's going to be very important. Tom Lee has his super granny shots. And we're going to also be looking at his thoughts, a 4-minute video from last night in regard to the FOMC today. I'm going to give you this to you as a bonus. Not supposed to do this, so definitely sign up if you can afford it. It's worth it. And I won't do this often, but I do want to show you guys kind of what you're missing with Tom Lee's insights and his team because they are very brilliant. He's got a great team, and it's not just him. Other people that I love, Mark Newton from a technical aspect is fucking amazing. And then I've got to say too, for Sean Farrell on the crypto side is probably one of the smartest people in the space as far as just what he's tracking and how he's tracking it. So I'll give you that 4-minute video in a little bit here too, just to go over some of those details. But let's jump back over here. So in this meeting with Shamath Palihapitiya and David Friedberg from the All In podcast, they met with Scott Bessent, and I think they did this Monday, and then they had a conversation with him talking about everything, man. If you look here at Main Street versus Wall Street, the Trump admin's economic strategy, Scott's involvement in the legendary trade that broke the Bank of England in 1992, how to deregulate the American economy, Doge, DC grifts, and more. All of this was really good. I love a bunch of these sections, but I mean, like where he was talking about Scott, he was talking about the Trump's administration of economic strategy and how the administration plans to deregulate the economy, Fed relationship, refinancing debt, Doge, DC grifts, like this entire, I mean, the whole fucking video is good. And I'm probably going to write that up and just with some of what I believe are the most important things to take from the interview. So I definitely, if you have time, you want to look at this. And let me just jump back here more. Well, you know what? While I'm in there, I'll hit a few things. So one, we had Trump's meeting with Russia and Vladimir Putin, and they talked for hours. Now, there's people on the Ukrainian side that are already saying that Trump or Putin violated the terms. I actually don't think that's true. I think it's just a narrative that's being printed. There is a follow-up meeting between Trump's envoy and then the Russian side that's going to be happening in Saudi Arabia on the 23rd. That is 4 days from now, so the beginning of next week. So again, the blocking function last week or the week before probably was Zelensky. The blocking function right now is Putin. He's not just going to immediately cave. He needs to be seen as a strong man. So we're gonna have back and forth. This is how negotiations work, whether people like that or not. Also, in regard to the tariffs, America's biggest trade deficits. So when we're talking tariffs, guys, the biggest pain is to be felt with the people that have we have the largest deficits with. So China, Mexico, Vietnam, Ireland, Germany, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, Canada, these countries that have the largest amount of trade with us, and again, these deficits are going to feel pain. And this is from Visual Capitalist, and you can always argue about what the actual numbers are with the trade deficit. There's a lot of complicated different ways to display all this data, but this gives you a pretty good idea. The big ones that could experience pain are going to be China and Mexico, right? They dwarf the rest of these. Vietnam's on the list again. Ireland, Germany, you could kind of include Taiwan, but the big dogs are right here. So they're the ones that will have the most impact in regard to that. I want to jump over to the U.S. economy, though, because, again, a lot of my thoughts on what I'm doing with my portfolio and all this other stuff kind of tie in with this, too. And we'll be talking about it more. Before I get into that, though, I want to look real quickly. Let's just refresh the economic calendar and take a look here at everything that's happening today, because it's a decently busy one. So we already had the MBA 30-year mortgage rate. We went up just a little bit from 6.67 to 6.72 because, again, we had a little baby bounce on the 10-year. Mortgage applications are in decline. Mortgage market index, whatever. All this stuff is weak as shit. And it's not surprising that it's weak. It's going to get better in the spring as we lower rates. And we'll talk about it in a second. But Morgan Stanley, as Mike Wilson was talking about how he believes there's one rate cut in the future. Tom Lee believes that there's many more rate cuts in the future. So very diverging thought processes there. I'm somewhere probably in the middle. I do believe we're going to get a lot of rate cuts. And again, that video with Scott Bessent and Chamath and David Friedberg, they talk a little bit about how Scott Bessent is going to be able to apply additional pressure in regard to getting rates further, like another 30 to 70 bips lower without the Fed's help or any of this other stuff. So, and part of that is privatization of federal lands. He's very clearly said, I hear all these like gurus talking about how he's going to revalue gold in order to be able to accomplish this goal. He said very clearly he is not going to do that. I think that's what China would like him to do because they've been adding and adding and adding, and Russia too, but he's not going to do that. And instead what they're looking at, I believe, is privatization. And they're looking to get it to where the banks aren't the ones buying all of our treasuries, which I think is brilliant. They shouldn't do that because if you can get it to where banks aren't buying our treasuries, then you're freeing up capital that allows them to be able to lend, right? And that's what we want to do. We want banks to lend. We don't want them to just be buyers of government debt. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I think Scott Bessent is brilliant. I think there's way more signal now going forward with Scott Bessent than there is with the Fed. I think the Fed will have to comply with a lot of his views and what he's planning on doing. I don't know if they will today. We'll find out. But I do think in the future they will. So again, from economic data, we really got it, right? We got inventories and stuff for different commodities, gasoline, heating oil, all that shit. But really, it's the Fed rate decision at 1. It's the FOMC economic projections, or I'm sorry, the Fed press conference coming afterwards, and then they've got their economic projections too. So these will be a big deal. I'm probably going to do a live stream with this. I'm probably going to do a live stream with this because I want to talk through this and I want to hear what he has to say, and I really want to focus on it. So if you guys want to participate in that, I'm probably actually going to make a different stream for it. But this is the big dog today. It's all happening around 1:30. That's when it's going to get fun. So we'll be very focused on that. Let's jump back over here. And again, actually, before we go into the U.S. economic, let's listen to our boy Fundstrat. And Fundstrat, don't sue me, bro. I love you. I get you guys a lot of members, and I will keep doing that. I just give little teasers, okay? So don't sue me, bro. I love you. All right, here we go. Let's listen to Fundstrat. He's going to be talking today. I might do him at a 1.25x just to speed it up a little bit.
Good evening, FS Insight family and community.
And to be clear, these posts, and they actually have a webinar this afternoon too. I'm probably going to be looking at that before we have the FOMC and the Fed. So I'll let you know how that goes too. But he does these like maybe once every other day, sometimes once a day. It just depends on how much he's doing. And again, you get all these other insights too. It's a really great product, dude. I love FS Insight. The only if he's guilty of anything though, it's being too bullish, which I have a problem with too. So I've got to listen to bears to counter some of that sometimes.
Community. Today is Tuesday, March 18th, and this is our Macro Minute. Tomorrow is our monthly market update webinar and super and sleeper
So this
grannies
is at
webinar.
11 Central.
The time, however, is actually been changed. It's at 12 p.m. Eastern time instead of 2 p.m. So please mark your calendars and just be aware the time has actually changed. I'm going to give you a preview of some of the comments I'm going to make. I think I want to focus on why you should not be rage selling or even liquidating or reducing your positions here. I know there's a temptation to throw in the towel, but keep in mind, as we are talking about, maybe we're still 2.5 weeks away from the April 2nd tariff deadline, okay? And that's why you're nervous. I'm going to make some points I've made before. First of all, the tariff war is not the only outcome. It's not necessarily a fact that we're going to have tariffs. And we talk about the trade deficit.
So we are going to have tariffs, but I think what he's talking about is like longer term concerns with tariffs. I think that's where he's going with this.
Deficits here, which are significant with China and Mexico. But a tariff, and I'll talk about this in the webinar, it requires Congress to actually make these permanent. And again, keep in mind that the countries that are in the sort of bullseye of the White House, China, Europe, Mexico, Canada, they've all been outperforming the U.S. So I think markets are expecting a negotiation, not a trade war. And in fact, even if you look at the VIX futures market, they're expecting volatility to drop after April. So clearly the market thinks that this is a deadline, but it's not necessarily leading to a recession. The second is the Fed's meeting on Wednesday, and we've talked about this, and I'll cover this in a lot more detail, but the market thinks quite hawkishly. They think the odds of a May cut is down to 20%. They think the Fed number of cuts is only 2, and we know inflation has been dropping if you look at something like Trueflation. And strangely, there's a tail bet that's emerging, which I'll talk about on the webinar, that it looks like there's a high probability of 6 or more cuts coming. That's like a panic. And one last thing to keep in mind is the Fed could even announce that they're ending QT. That would be bullish. Now, I've talked about this before too. The odds of a recession are priced in. In fact, the latest Bank of America survey shows that 11% of respondents think that there's a hard landing. First of all, that's the highest since the summer of last year. And as you know, that's when people thought another recession was happening. And it's because it's self-inflicted. 55% of thinks this is driven by a trade war.
Bitcoin.
And last couple points I'll make on this video, but again, I encourage you to tune in tomorrow. There's been a waterfall decline in stocks, and we know that stocks actually perform well 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months later. And then lastly, sentiment continues to be far worse than I think that's implied by what we think bond markets are saying. For instance, there's been a huge de-risking of equities according to the latest fund manager survey.
Largest ever.
And we know AAII sentiment is rock bottom. And this drop in sentiment, according to RenMac, is far worse than implied by what the stock market has done. So this is just investors turning really deeply bearish. And that means you potentially missing out on the 10 best days. So, and again, as I mentioned before,
the 10 best days just refers to the fact that in a year, there's 10 days that are usually giving you the vast majority of the gains. Also, when you have this waterfall drop, you have a greater probability that those good days are within that realm when you get a rebound.
If you didn't own stocks in 2023 and 2024, in the 10 best days, your returns are only 4% a year. So please don't time the market. But tune in to the webinar tomorrow, and I'll speak to you soon.
I mean, all I do is time the market, but thank you for that advice. I do. I think he's really spot on with a lot of that. So I wanted to show it to you guys. Have you sold your Flux? No, I still own that shit. I don't know that I care. So there's things, guys, or have I sold it? Did I sell it? Shit, maybe I did. I don't remember doing that. Let me just refresh real quick here. I literally don't remember selling Flux. But I don't show it. I've got DLO still. I guess I did. I think I sold it. I think I sold it. Fuck, you know what? I was probably just clearing out trash, and that was on the list. So I don't remember doing it. What the fuck? It's not there, though. You're right. It's not there. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. It just kept going down anyways. Let's look at Flux real quick. That was just a bet where it is more of a bet on Rex Finance, right? And I don't even know if he's talking about it anymore. Let me just pop over here real quick and we'll look at it for 2 seconds. I think I sold it though. It wasn't a lot of money. It had dropped so fucking much. Like, look at this. I haven't even updated the chart. Looks like it's bouncing back now. But yeah, I guess I sold it. What did this thing drop though? Like, it's just been vicious. What is this thing down from its high? I mean, it got a bounce recently. 91%. Don't rage sell. I didn't even know I sold it, bro. I mean, I can tell you this. I think it was like 15 grand or something. It's like an inconsequential amount for me. So yeah, it's gone. Sorry about that. Jesse Paul here. What is your referral code? Yeah. I can give that to you. Let me do this. Let me grab it real quick. These guys are great, dude. I love FS Insight. Out of all the subscriptions that I have, these guys are my favorite. I will pop the referral code for anybody who's interested in it. And again, you don't have to get the crypto part, but if you are invested in crypto, I think Sean does a really great job with it. Let me, here, I'll throw this in chat and then we can move on. FS Insight referral. I don't know if I spelled that right. All right, there we go. Here we go. All right, moving on. So yeah, I guess I sold that. So there you go. It's gone. Bye. Poof. All right, and I'm not even gonna update the chart. I don't care. All right, but hopefully it's going up and you guys are making money from it. That'd be awesome to hear. So so it looks like today again we're getting a bounce. We got a 3% bounce plus on Tesla. Market looks like it's turning around a little bit. It looks like, again, what Tom Lee said about it being oversold and the market wanting to kind of bounce back seems to be very, very true. I agree with it. Now, on that same note, though, let's go back to this. So with MicroStrategy, I was showing today for members that are members on X that it's actually looking really good. Looks like it wants to break out. And so I think we can get to the 315, 316 range pretty easily, maybe even up to the 330 range before we hit peak volume here and then kind of get some kind of rejection for a back test. I might sell some MicroStrategy there. And the reason is it's over like 26 to 30% of my portfolio. I haven't updated since I did it like the beginning of this week or this weekend. I don't know. The last time I updated it. But it's probably like MSTR and MSTX and MSTU have actually done pretty good and they've went up. If you look over here, we were down in the 220s and now we're up to, 287 or something like that, 288.70 in pre-market. So up 2% on the day. So it's done well. And it's bounced when other things have not, like Mara, CleanSpark has not, Tesla not really bounced. A lot of other things still kind of getting depressed. Even Palantir yesterday down 4%. So I think that this one, if there's anything that's closest to a breakout, it's going to be this one. And I'm liking that. And at the same time, it's like, here's what I'm not liking. I'm not liking how much I've leveraged myself to, or I shouldn't say leverage, kind of though. I mean, there is leverage applied there with MSTU and MSTX, but I'm not liking that large portion of allocation that I have to this one investment. It's too much risk for me. And normally, again, I'm trying to constantly reevaluate and think about those things. I also want to prepare for the potential of concerns with this $9 trillion of debt refinancing. And again, I'll talk about that more with Scott Bessent's latest interview. But I want to be prepared for that in case things go wrong, in case they take longer to fix. Mike Wilson today said that he believes that it could actually take until Q4 for things to get better. If that ends up happening, I think that we'll see massive Fed rate cuts in the United States. I think that you'll see risk off trade where people are jumping in to bonds. And I think TLT will still be that wonderful asymmetric bet. An insurance play. So I might take a couple 100,000 out, of which I have about 1 million right now. And I'm hoping to have a lot more. If we do this jump here and get up into like the 315 and above range, that will probably put me up another 25% on that position. So another $250,000. So I might shave off the gains that I make since we are looking towards a breakout and put that back into something like TLT or other hedging strategies that I'm thinking about. Because right now I only have about a little over $400,000 or right around $400,000 in TLT. And I think that can still give me a 10 to 11x. But And so that can basically ensure that I'm still a multimillionaire even if the world falls apart. And that's my biggest goal, right? I don't want to lose. I don't want to go under 2 million if the world falls apart because I'm pretty heavily leveraged to the upside right now, at least within Bitcoin, Tesla, ARKG, and a few other things, right? So I'm trying to just, again, I love asymmetric opportunities. I also want asymmetric insurance. And I think it's very important to do that. Also, I'm looking to get, and if you guys have great asymmetric bets that you think would do really well during a downfall in the economy where things are just melting down, especially in other parts of the world, let me know. I'm looking for, again, things that can 10x, ideally maybe 6, 7 to 10x the underlying asset. Bitcoin gets weird though. Bitcoin gets weird. Bitcoin can actually do really well in that environment, I think, because it's already really depressed and people could be looking for something to get into. It could be risk off and then risk on, kind of like gold. So it could have a short window. I'm looking for like companies that could fail, shit like that. Have I looked at MSTY and TSLOY? Yeah, I've looked at them. There's actually people that talk about that quite a bit. I don't know how interested I am in it, though. Why are you looking to hedge MSTR soon? I'm not hedging MSTR. I'm just looking to take some profits from it and then hedge with other instruments like TLT and other things that could just get wiped out. TTD is ripe for the picking. Yeah, I know that one's been really beat up, hasn't it? But that's looking for upside. I'm looking for down. All right. Anyway, let's keep going here. So I said when it's finally refinancing time, should we expect Treasury yields to go up because of the refinancing? This is a question from Eric. I said it's heavily dependent upon the economy at the time, where we're at fiscally, and what our growth outlook looks like. I said I'll know better when we get to that point, but right now I'm very confident in Scott Bessent's ability to manage these things later this year. So could TLT maybe in the latter part of the year end up having yields go up because of all the issuance that the federal government is looking to do with their securities? That's possible. I think Scott is going to do an excellent job managing all of that, though, and there's a lot of tools at his disposal to do that. I did put in an article here too that kind of talks about some of the nuances from Grok, so you guys can look through that if you want to. Now, Papa Chicken Papa, whatever, Chicken Genius, he was talking here, and I kind of agree with some of it, but I wanted to, so again, just like on the thesis of we don't really know the outcome. And that's the truth, right? I have a lot of confidence in what this president's going to do. I have a lot of confidence in what Elon Musk is going to do. The variables I don't know are how other countries react to the tariffs and if they work together to fight us, which is possible, right? We can already see Carney, the prime minister, the temporary, whoever the fuck, however he got there, prime minister of Canada. And you got to remember, Trudeau elected like almost all these people are set up leftists, right? And they're all a part of the World Economic Forum and this elite group that are trying to work together to overthrow us right now, honestly, because we're the biggest force that's holding them back from being able to accomplish their goals. And so when Mark Carney is going to France and saying that that they're closer to France than they are the United States, even though, like, what is it, 6% of trade or something that's done with France, and or I should say this, like 6 billion or something plus in trade with France, and there's like 920 with the United States, or some huge number difference. Then it kind of lets you know that maybe they're going to try and work together to fight us off on the reciprocal tariffs and some of these other tariffs that have been deployed. So again, I don't know what that ends up turning into. I don't know how long that depresses. I know this: we win. All the math in my head and from everything I've listened to from all these brilliant people all around the world, we win. We win this. But again, it's a matter of timing, it's perception, it's narratives in the meantime. So anyway, long way to get here. But what I wanted to say, so he talked in here about how I'll read what he has. We have no edge here. It's Trump's world. Nobody on CT macro has any edge, including his own sons. Liquidity going up. If nation states decide to fight the tariff war, we're screwed. I don't totally agree with that, but at certain nations, if it's China and others, it will give us momentary hiccups that could be painful for the world, okay? The world. And so he said, what's my take on all this? Most of Trump's executive orders will be stopped. I think he's totally wrong there. He said recession is off the table. I have no idea how we can say recession is off the table. I do believe that it is, but I can't say that it is with 100% confidence. You just can't do that. There's other variables like other nation states around the world. And then it says one less pump, yields need to come down. Most debt will be refinanced in a few months for cheap. Capital expansion needed for production. And so again, my response to that, and then I'll get to some of the questions people are asking about CleanSpark or some other shit. Yeah, he can get emotional. I agree, but I like him. I said, contrary to his statements below, I don't think most of Trump's executive orders will be defeated. I go, but I do believe tariffs could get tricky and that potentially a number of other countries could perform a coordinated trade attack against the United States. Again, think Canada and the EU. And I don't see China being willing to go down without some kind of fight. I think that to save face, at the very least, they would do that, right? They might negotiate, it might end quickly, but they're going to do that. Recession canceled. That has yet to be determined. My thesis is that it will be because we have major pro-growth policies enacted by late May or early June. The policies will boom for markets. No tax on tips. Over time, Social Security dropping corporate taxes even further down to 15% from 20, along with the tax extension, because you got to remember, we were going to roll up to 36% corporate tax. That would be a fucking huge increase at a horrific time. The potential for Doge, a check of $5,000, codifying all major savings for Doge, and just a lot more stuff that they're trying to do, right? So I want to have some hedges that can give me asymmetric opportunities in case shit goes awry in the months ahead. But at the same time, and I do have some, I've got over 400,000 right now in TLT, and if it can give me 10x, then that right there gets me up to what? 1.2 million, 1.4 million, somewhere around there, if that played out that way and I didn't sell any. So that's some decent protection, but I'd like to maybe, again, add another $250,000 if I can get a gain on MSTR in the weeks ahead, in order to be able to give myself even more insurance and maybe get it up to where, I could get 2 million in a drop. So that's kind of my thought process and what I'm thinking. And somebody was asking about CleanSpark calls. I mean, if they're the January, if they're the $37 strike, July ones, they might not pay out at all. So whatever you do with that is up to you. I've only got 47,000 in those because they're down almost 92%. I've been butchered on that one, but that's why I ended up pushing out to a $25 strike in the same time frame. I don't even know if those will pay out. And then more recently here, I moved over to $20 calls for November of 2021. And then for Mara, I created ones for September for $30. And I might even push some Novembers on those because we could have a late rally if things don't really start to take off, or maybe we get some baby bumps, but we don't really start to take off until Q3 or Q4. Maybe we do get what I would have never expected a year ago, an extension to this Bitcoin rally, because again, unlike last time, we're going to have the exact opposite environment where if things go bad, we're going to be fiscally responsible in the United States much more than other countries around the world. And at the same time, we're going to be lowering rates, which last cycle for Bitcoin, we were raising them, and which capped us at 69,000, where I think we would have went to 100,000 plus. So again, it's just, you got to account for all scenarios. You got to be smart, and you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm actually going to so real quick, we got Elon Musk here talking about wasting government. I want to hear it real fast. And let me just look through chat, see if there's anything else. Holy crap, Taiwan is number 6 in the trade deficit chart. I better hedge. Yeah, right. Oak, I watched his All In podcast episode, and I didn't know Scott worked with Stan Druckenmiller and George Soros when they made. Yeah, dude, he was the person. He was the person. Him and Druck were the two people that are like, holy shit, here's the opportunity of a lifetime. They are the brilliance behind breaking the Bank of England. So yeah, George Soros gets the credit for it. These guys fucking brought it to him. Okay. And they're brilliant. These are some of Scott Besson is one of the most brilliant economists on this fucking planet. And he's real world managed massive portfolios. He broke the Bank of England. This is the guy to fix us. Joseph's, what are we going to do with our CleanSpark? Yeah, okay, so I kind of answered that. And somebody said, roll them over, do whatever you want to with them. Again, I give you guys all my trades. I have not been buying any July calls for a while. I've got 2,200 contracts for November of 2025. So, and I let you guys know every time I trade, I post that shit. So you should know that. So what you guys do with the old ones is up to you. I don't roll. I don't roll anything. Joseph said you could roll it. Totally something you can do. It's up to you. Different Joseph. You got two Josephs talking to each other about CleanSpark. Weird. Disease Kodak. Do you think we bottomed, Jesse? I hope so. But hope is not a strategy. So again, I've got opportunities to be able to buy the dip. I got 400,000 in TLT. I will take it very slow if we do continue to drop. But like Tom Lee said, I think we've dropped really fucking hard, really quick over a very short period of time. So I think if anything, we're due for a good bounce. Luke, I'm 19 and have most of my port in Tesla, MSTR, and MSTX. Should I just hold on to it because I have time and less responsibilities on my side? Or would you say, yeah, if you're young, dude, you want to maximize gains? Again, you could do hedging. It just depends on how much you have. If you've built up a huge nest egg and you've got 2 or 3 years of your life in here, I don't know. Even honestly, even then, again, not financial advice. I'm a high school dropout, fucking whatever. A guy literally in his basement talking to you. But I personally would just be looking for asymmetric opportunities. And if you fuck it up, look for more in the future because you're so young, dude. 19 is so fucking young. Best in interview is great, says Sean. I agree. Labango, if we have learned anything from the NATO experience, it's that rediscovery of an old truth. Dependency corrupts and absolute dependency corrupts absolutely in the degree. Irvin Kristol, 1983. Yes, dependency does corrupt. And again, bureaucracy corrupts. And there's tons of that in Europe. Again, they have in Europe, you have like state province level, you have cities of bureaucracy, you have countries of bureaucracy, and then on top of that, you throw on another, bureaucracy with the EU. It's a fucking disaster. Keith, Jesse, appreciate what you do here. I have some January Archie calls that are down 50%. Would you consider rolling them out to June? I have not, again, I don't roll, but all of the stuff I've been buying is July of 2026. That way June of 2026 with a 48 strike. That's roughly a doubling of where we are right now at the current price because I just think these are great asymmetric bets. And so if we do really good by the end of the year and this thing doubles and it gets high, I'll make a shit ton of money on those January ones. And then if that doesn't play out, I've still got time for June of 2026 to get a doubling of the stock or maybe a tripling. A 3x is not hard. 200% move on a stock that's like a little over $1 billion in AUM is nothing. So I like ARKG, and I've been buying those new ones. I've got 155,000 in the new ones, and that's probably what I would continue to add into myself. And then the other ones are my, oh shit, we're gonna make a lot of money if things turn around really good. So it's that nice upside surprise. Tyler, can MSTR and CleanSpark move inversely as the street longs MSTR and shorts miners? Yes, that happens sometimes. So a lot of the times, we've said this before, MicroStrategy is probably the first mover because it's the 50 billion market cap, right? And then the next one is probably going to be Mara because it's the 5 billion market cap. Because people dial down the risk curve, up the risk curve, whatever. They dial to riskier investments as risk starts to come alive. So they're going to look towards the larger caps in the beginning, like MicroStrategy, for the investing, not necessarily jump to Fartcoin. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, let's keep going here. I think I answered a bunch of questions. So let's keep rocking and rolling. We don't really have a lot of economic data, so let's just let's go through it all. Trump's talking tariffs again. Cool. Let's see. What do we got? Let's actually jump to that real quick. Do you guys have anything that he's saying? Boom, 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 boom. Turn federal land into Bitcoin. I love it. I actually think that could happen. I actually think that could be a real thing. She hit Trump in the face with a microphone. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. Let me see. Let me go to Trump's account. Somebody posted. Where's he? Okay, I'm not seeing it there. Let me just. I know he talked about Mark Carney and endorsing him over Pierre Poilievre. I don't know if that's like a political strategy to help Pierre in the polls since he's down, or if he really thinks that Carney is a pushover and he wants him to win. I don't know. Trump admin's new tariffs said to be worth trillions of dollars. Oh, okay. What's that? Can you link that on X? Can you link that on X so I can see it? Amen, brother. All right. Okay. Yeah, link it to me on X, and then I'll go over it. For now, I'm just going to jump through the rest here. So let's listen to...
The average American makes $66,000 a year. We're close to $40,000 in debt. You said to me in our last interview We won't have a country unless we fix it now. Can you explain why this is so important that we identify all this waste?
Yes, the government the government waste and fraud is so high that it's causing a $2 trillion annual deficit. So that's $2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening. And the cost of our debt has gotten so high that...
I'm sorry, wait a sec. What did he just fucking say? Let me go back here.
Dollars of...
Nope, okay, a little bit earlier. I got to hear this.
Fraud is so high that it's causing a $2 trillion annual deficit. So that's $2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening.
So he believes there's $2 trillion in waste and fraud? I haven't heard him say that. I've had him say that they think they can eliminate 1 trillion plus. I've never heard him say that there's $2 trillion in waste and fraud. I feel like he's giving us a better number now for what they can eliminate.
And the cost of our debt has gotten so high that just the interest payments on the debt exceed the entire military budget.
We kind of know that.
And it was just growing out of control.
I'm going to speed him
so
up.
the country was going bankrupt. It's just, a country is no different from a person. If a country overspends and doesn't spend wisely, just like a person, a country will go bankrupt. So the reason I'm here is because I'm very worried about America going bankrupt due to the corruption and waste. And if we don't do something about it, the ship of America is going to sink. And we're all on that ship. And this may be a message to, people out there who have, are wealthy, have a lot of means, or control companies. It's like, just remember, we're all in ship America here. If your company's not going to exist if the ship of America sinks, and we should do everything we possibly can to ensure that America is strong for far into the future.
So that's interesting, though. Yeah, he talked about the $2 trillion deficit, but then he said that's $2 trillion that he believes in fraud, waste, and abuse. That's crazy. I'll have to see if in further interviews he references anything like that. James E. Thorne, again, one of our favorite Canadians, he said during times of uncertainty is the time where you want to buy. And he's showing here EUP, CN, USD index. He's just showing that times of uncertainty are skyrocketing right now. And again, we've shown a bunch of other metrics that show that exact same thing. I'm itchy. Got some scalp itch or something weird. Jesse, you didn't say, no, he did. No, he did. He did. No, he did. He did. Listen again.
Identify all this waste.
Yes, but the government, the government waste and fraud is so high that it's causing a $2 trillion annual deficit.
So you're right. He said $2 trillion annual deficit. Now let's listen.
So that's $2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening. And the cost of our debt has gotten so high that just the interest.
So he said that's $2,000 billion in waste and fraud that is happening. So that's literally what he just said. It's literally what he just said. So he made the statement about the $2 trillion deficit, and then he said that.
$2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening. And
$2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening. So that's something I've never heard him say. And he might have misspoke, right? Yeah, exactly. It's $2 trillion. He might have misspoke. Maybe he didn't mean it that way, but I'm definitely going to listen to his further discussions to see if he's changing his price target on what they're able to accomplish. Because again, maybe the low ball was the trillion. The numbers I've looked at recently, like the last time I heard him talk, there was $4 billion a day in additional savings that they were gaining. I ran that out a year, and that's like $1.4 trillion in savings. So, and now he just mentioned $2 trillion in waste and fraud. And maybe it was a slip up, but it's interesting. And so I'm going to take note of it and try and listen again in the future to see if it means anything and if he validates it in any other way. Real quickly, I want to listen to Kathy Wood talking about Truflation and her thoughts on the FOMC.
What do you see as the rate path for this year? The Federal Reserve kicking off its two-day policy meeting today. We're going to hear from Jay Powell tomorrow. How many rate cuts do you see happening this year, Kathy?
Well, we tend not to be very short-term in our focus, but...
Actually, he said $1 trillion. He said he thinks he can do $1 trillion from the very get-go. So that's what he keeps reiterating over and over again.
If we're right, and inflation is going to surprise on the low side of expectations, we wouldn't be surprised to see 2 or 3 cuts. Now, if you look at an indicator called Trueflation, it's probably the broadest measure of inflation out there. It is saying inflation is down to 1.65%, well below where the Fed is pinning it at roughly the CPI's 2.8%. And we believe that the combination of actually food prices have started coming down, even egg prices have started to collapse. As a matter of fact, gasoline prices are coming down. We're seeing some rent prices coming down. So we think inflation is going to surprise on the low side of expectations for those reasons, and because innovation is inherently deflationary. And our 5 innovation platforms are all driving different kinds of deflation, good deflation, which we'll call unit growth, but deflation nonetheless. So we think the Fed is going to have many more degrees of freedom in the second half of this year than most people think. We could see more than the number I just suggested, 2 to 3 cuts.
Yeah. So again, we've got varieties from 8. We've got people, Mike Wilson saying one cut. We've got Kathy Wood saying maybe more than 2 to 3. We've got Tom Lee saying that people are getting crazy and saying 6 to 8. So we're all over the map on cuts right now, and I think that speaks a lot to the traditional markets. Yeah. So again, I think Elon Musk just clearly said, whether he misspoke or not, that there was $2 trillion in waste and abuse and fraud. And again, I know his goal was 1 trillion, and then I've done the math on what he said the average was, and it was 1.4. So we'll see where we end up with all of this, and we just need to keep listening to what they have to say. But those are the numbers we know of right now. Michael, you know when the best time to buy stocks was on Policy Uncertainty Index? Yeah, you know the answer, don't you? So again, this is the Policy Uncertainty Index, and if you look here, right over here, you can see the 9/11 attacks was a good time to buy. You can see the global financial crisis was a good time to buy. You can see the sovereign debt crisis was a good time to buy. You can see COVID was a good time to buy. And now we had Trump creating tons of uncertainty with the tariffs, which he is saying is a good time to buy. I agree. This was this was yesterday. Inflation data in Canada rises at fastest pace in 8 months. Probably some signal there. Bravo Research, recession fears are now at levels seen in 2022. We all know how that ended. So I think I talked about this yesterday, but again, fears of a recession, high. Uncertainty, high. Oversold conditions, the AII, high. These are a perfect storm of beautiful metrics that indicate that we could pop, okay? Seth said last time U.S. economy went into a recession with industrial production at an all-time high was never. And so again, yesterday we talked about how the year over year wasn't as great as what they expected on the industrial production and the manufacturing. But if you looked at the month over month and you look at the actual data points, they're really good. Again, we're ticking up. That is not, I probably have another chart in here that shows that's not something you see before you have a major recession. So again, we're not near it yet, is the important thing that I think we're trying to get across. And Germany approves a massive 500 billion euro borrowing plan. So again, Germany isn't as indebted as the United States or China or these other countries or other parts of Europe. But this isn't great for them. They do have massively slowing economies, or an economy. And so adding a bunch of debt to it, especially for war, is not great. And again, this is listed as infrastructure, and some of it is infrastructure. But this is the China playbook, and that has not worked out for them. And it's not going to work out good for Germany either. They need to fix structural issues in their economy. They need to compete with China. They need to remove regulation and increase business and investment opportunities. They're just not doing that. And again, TrendSpider just showed that we basically had a drop that was comparable to the Japanese yen carry trade, which again is a greater opportunity to be able to do better. This is the collapse of the U.S. consumers. That's what Kobayashi letter said. Unemployment expectations in the U.S. are now above 2020 levels at their highest since 2008. What's fascinating about this is initial jobless claims and other data do not show that we are going to see mass layoffs outside of, again, government, and then there's going to be secondary impacts with private sector that are tied heavily to government contracts. But you're also pulling out illegal immigrants. I think so far we probably lost 100,000 between voluntary deportations. It's probably maybe just a little bit less than that, maybe like 70, 80, 90, something like that. but between voluntary deportations, those numbers I think are getting close to 40,000, and then also people were arresting, and so maybe it's only 60,000. But again, the whole premise is we're giving these guys the app, the CB1 app, now in reverse to leave the fucking country. We're arresting a bunch of really bad people. We're making it to where we're pulling people away that might have been in low-end wages to where we're helping the bottom part of the economy. So the people that have been suffering the most are now potentially going to have a much better opportunity to get a job. So I do think that I think these are overblown, and I think it's just one of many reasons why the economy could do better. And again, right here, so rapid response 47. So this is again is the White House, but they said total industrial production production across the economy rose by 0.7% in February, smashing expectations of 0.2. This is month over month. Said the auto sector came roaring back. Motor vehicle and parts output rose 8.5%. Some of this could be to avoid tariffs, but again, it's a good number for now, and it doesn't show any signs of a major drop in the economy. And I thought this was just another beautiful comment from Besant. He is the new Powell. He said the American dream is not let them eat flat screens, and what he's saying, like the whole reference, let them eat cake, with the French Marie Antoinette back in the day, right before she got slaughtered by her people. This isn't what we're looking at. People aren't like, oh God, I'm so happy in life because I got a flat screen that only cost me like $800 and it's really pretty. That's not what makes people happy in life. They want to know that there's opportunity in this country. They want to be able to dream. They want to be able to grow as a person. They want to be able to expand themselves and figure out or they just want to be able to have fun. That's some people too. But there's a lot of people that want a better life for their family and want a better vision for the future. And they talk about that, David Friedberg and Chamath and Scott in that interview a little bit more in detail. But people want to dream. And so they want to know that this economy is on strong footing and not just, oh, hey, we're dying, but I got the cheap flat screen and that's what makes me happy. That's not it. And I 100% agree with that statement. Again, zero hedge put recession canceled. U.S. production jumps to record high. Record highs are pretty good, right? Matt Hogan said the ECB says it will limit the amount of money people. Yeah, so guys, the ECB now is talking about social credit score system that's going to come in by the end of next year, to where there'll be like that Dark Mirror episode with like China where literally you might not be able to get on mass transport or rent cars or get on a plane or leave the country if your social credit score is not good. Frightening shit. Can you imagine not being able to transfer across the EU because you didn't eat bugs or you haven't been doing, or you said the wrong things on social media? This is just very frightening. And so on top of that, we also have been looking to come after people's savings. There's just so much shit going on in the EU right now. It looks very scary and just like horrific. I think that's it for U.S. economy. Let's move on. I'm going to go back over to Trump here. So again, we talked about this. The biggest trade deficits are the ones that are going to be the most problematic. Those are the people that are going to feel the most pressure. So the people at the top of the list, China, Mexico. This is probably why Mexico has been so much more compliant than Canada, even though Canada gets a lot more from us in many different ways. That $300 billion figure, that's Trump throwing in like military and just all kinds of stuff. But he's right. I mean, he's right. Canada does get a ton from us. And it's not just about the trade deficit with them. And it's odd that they so quickly hate the United States, but then crickets about China implementing 100% tariffs on numerous sectors of their economy. It's just funny. The double standard is funny. All right. So again, this is the conversation with the special envoy talking about Russia this week. Let's listen to it real quick. Thank you for liking my content too. I appreciate that, Render.
Issues that were discussed today. One thing the Russians were worried about is during this 30-day period, the possible rearming of forces in Ukraine. Does that mean that they themselves will not rearm also? Will there be reciprocity there?
Well, I think the devil's in the details. We've got a team going to Saudi Arabia led by our national security advisor and our Secretary of State. And I think, we've got to figure out those details. The point is that up until recently, we really didn't have consensus around these two aspects, the energy and infrastructure ceasefire and the Black Sea moratorium on firing. And today we got to that place. And I think it's a relatively short distance to a full ceasefire from there.
And here's the deal, guys. It's always baby steps. Russia right now, Putin, again, is trying to play some hardball. Just like Zelensky was trying to do that when he visited the White House and was talking shit to the United States. It's the same thing, okay? There's going to be posturing. These guys want to be seen as strong men, both of them. Putin probably even more so, because, again, he's been a dictator for a very, very long time. He's a bad dude. If you think he's not, you're lying to yourself. And so they're all posturing. They're all trying to do stuff, but we're inching closer to be able to find peace. And Putin needs it. He doesn't want to pretend like he needs it, or doesn't want to give the perception that he needs it, but he needs it.
And again,
I'm probably going to leave this. So next Monday, I believe it is, they're going to be meeting. The envoy of the United States and Russia are going to be meeting with each other. Right now, though, there's an agreement on a peace deal where they're not attacking energy infrastructure, so that kind of stuff should be cut back. And again, how the Black Sea is going to be managed and what kind of attacks can happen from it in the future. That's another thing that came out of the conversation. There were also talks too, and I've got more details about it below here, where Russia was actually agreeing with the United States that it is not in the best interest of the world for Iran to have nuclear weapons where they can destroy Israel, which I thought was fucking amazing. That is a conversation I never thought I would have heard coming out of Putin's mouth, whether he meant it or not. So I'm very excited that that's a conversation. Now we're going to jump to this woke shit. It's kind of a segue. But this is great. I don't listen to Tom McDonald's rap music at all. I don't even listen to rap music as much, maybe when I'm working out. But I thought this was a great conversation. So you got this transgender person. Listen to what listen to what he has to say, McDonald has to say about this.
Where should I go? I'm trans and I live in America. I think that's all I need to say. Where should I pack up and move to?
Where should you go? What are you talking about? You live in America. You're free to go wherever you want. Why do you guys keep acting like you're under attack or something? I really don't know where you'd go. You are more free to go where you wish and do as you please right here in America than you are anywhere else on planet Earth. Leaving America because you think you're going to be freer somewhere else is like leaving the ocean to go jump in a puddle because you think it'll be wetter. It's ill-informed, it's overdramatic, and it's just stupid. Chill out, dude. Put on your sister's makeup, fill your purse up with tampons, curl your hair, and scream from the rooftops about how terrible America is. I might not agree with it, but this is America, and you're free to do so. Stop pretending like you're not allowed, okay? It's annoying. Knock it off. Have a good one.
I just thought that was fucking brilliant, man. I'm sorry, it's so fucking true. It's like, what rights do you not have in America outside of deciding that you want to go into a different bathroom or you want to force some girls to be subjected to your penis walking around? You just don't. You're fine. Nobody gives a shit. Just fucking deal with the X on a box that says that you're a male or a female and move the fuck on. That's not any kind of persecution. That's what everybody that was like you, whether you think this is real and people really feel like they're the opposite thing, or whether you think it's mental illness, it doesn't really fucking matter. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, everybody had to deal with this shit. And it wasn't the end of the world, and it wasn't them losing their fucking rights. Maybe they didn't get to access to just a couple of little things. It doesn't fucking matter. It's a waste of energy. I'm tired of hearing it. It makes me fucking sick. And these people will be shut up in the future. And I personally think it is mental illness, right? Just like some weird motherfucker that changes their nose and their jaw, and then all of a sudden they start to look like Loch Ness. I think it is fucking mental illness. That's my take on it, because I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're a homosexual man or a lesbian woman. I don't give a shit about any of that. If you think that you need to hack off your fucking dick or chop off your tits to be okay in life, you've got bigger fucking problems, in my opinion, okay? I don't give a shit what you want to wear, what you want to do, what you want to consider yourself to be. But if you need to hack up your fucking body in order to feel good about yourself, you are mentally fucking ill. That's my take. All right, let's keep going. I got good stuff here. Sorry, I just had to go off a little bit. These conversations annoy the shit out of me. Here's a great drone show. It's about Trump, and it's about America, and I fucking love it. And of course, it comes out of Florida. I'm gonna kill the music maybe, just in case. I'm going to kill the music a little bit, but you get the vibe, a new golden age. Just going to chop it up a little bit here. Look at this, American flags. There's all these people excited to watch this. You got Trump on Mount Rushmore. I think he added himself there. That's wonderful. Historic president. World's best deal maker. I just love this, man. I love this. The left is seething with this. Liberator of hostages, defender of freedom. I think they show Israel over there too in the United States. I just thought this was cool, man. I just thought this was really cool. Jealous Canadian here? That's all right. Just move here, bro. And you know what? Maybe we'll take Alberta. I think Alberta's going to annex. So if you're in Alberta, you're going to be fine. You'll be a part of the United States soon enough. But I thought this was cool. Wanted to share it. Also, this is funny as shit. Brett, he says, always make sure to call someone Hitler before you ask for their help. Bold strategy. Says Variety. Ben Stiller, Mark Ruffalo, and more than 400 Hollywood's name urged Trump to not let AI companies exploit copyrighted works. I think that's fucking hilarious. And then this guy is a senator in the United States. He's just a little bit worse than Nancy Pelosi. Let's listen to Senator Mitch McConnell, who tends to block a lot of the stuff that Trump is trying to do. Let's listen to his profound words on tariffs.
Here in Kentucky, or talk to him about it being a bad policy at all?
And again, guys, this is profound, so make sure you focus.
My hearing is not what it used to be.
Tariffs, Senator. Your comment is about tariffs. Tariffs. Comment about tariffs.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a fan of tariffs. I hope it works.
Oh my God, these fucking people. Have I heard about the Zeker humanoid? There's so many lies coming out of China right now in regard to robotics and AI and all this. Like, they're just trying to do everything in their power right now to pull in Western investment dollars so that they don't face financial collapse in the future. It's the only play they have. Nayib Bukele, president of El Salvador, said the U.S. is facing a judicial coup. I agree. I said, just ignore the judges and let these go to the Supreme Court. I don't know if logistically I think we can do that. I think we can do it on a number of them because, again, Biden did that last time. So we should be able to do it now. I think slowing down and stopping on the ones where, okay, it's not really a big deal. It's something we can wait a week on. I think that's okay. But ones where time is sensitive and we know we've got the legal precedent, we should just move forward with. And so, again, there were 4 activist judges just yesterday that were holding things back in all different ways, saying that we need to give all the money back to USAID. What is this one? The EPA stuff. Blocked EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin from terminating billions of dollars of climate grants. So basically everything they do, they're going to find an activist judge to try and prevent us from being able to move forward. And I think we need to get to the point where the Supreme Court is so fucking tired of hearing these people that they become embarrassed and that they end up losing their positions in the future. I think we need to do stuff like that. Also, yesterday, we got the JFK files. What was it? 80,000 plus pages of what happened with JFK. It's a start. I love that our government is becoming more transparent and releasing information that nobody has been attuned to. There's a lot coming out of this. I'm not believing any of it until there's more confirmation from a bunch of different sources. So I'm just letting this play out. This doesn't bother me too much. Whatever ends up happening happens. Let's see. Glitch in the Matrix. It's sad that he is still in Senate. Yeah, I know. Anthony Yeo, how are U.S. senators able to stay in office for decades? It's basically, I mean, if you can get in and you have name recognition, a lot of people just rubber stamp whoever they have in their political party for the Senate and the House. So you get to this point where they can just stay in forever. And that's the problem, right? Especially in the Senate. It's the worst of the worst. Justin, which came first, Mitch McConnell or Dirt? Probably Dirt. Main stage news. I mean, it's close though. Little late in catching up now. Did you see stock trader Max threw in the towel? Yeah, I didn't really talk about it. And then I saw Rex shitting on him, and I saw a bunch of people shitting on him. I try not to do that. I said, hey, I don't understand the hate. Everybody has their exit, whatever, right? He's a younger dude. It's been fucking hard. It's been hard, okay? So you got to give people a break. Some people fucking snap. And everybody, and again, people are like, oh, but he was saying all these good things about CleanSpark for so long, and then he all of a sudden, just on a whim, ends it. Yeah, that's how a lot of people work. Give people grace. This bitch went down 70% in a year. So is it insane that he would just eventually end up giving up? I don't think so. You can call him a hypocrite. You can call him whatever you like. But I don't know. Just focus on your own shit. That's the way I look at it. Focus on your own stuff. We have plenty of things to focus on ourselves. Again, I'm adding to this asymmetric opportunity because I think it's still going to be there. Could be wrong. That's why I'm hedged into other stuff too. That's why even though I've got the Julys where I don't even know if those are going to perform, hoping that the next do. What is it, September? Maybe they don't either. But then if nothing else, or I should say, no, I'm sorry, with CleanSpark, it's November. I've got November, right? So they should do all right. I'm hedging my bets all over the place, and I'm making it to where I can get as much opportunity as possible. But they could be wrong, and that might end up being the right fucking move. I don't know. I still very much believe that the cycle has room to go, and I have a lot of faith in this administration. And if they perform the way I think they're going to, I'm going to make a shit ton of money, and I'll have $15 to $20 million by the end of this year. And again, the history of my portfolio shows that I'm pretty good at doing that. I do have these drawbacks. I mean, that's what fucking happens, man. I didn't get up here without having stuff like this. I didn't, okay? If you think that somebody can tell you that they can go from negative $46,000 in 2019 to $7 million in the beginning of 2025, they didn't do that without drawdowns and without leverage. You just don't. You don't. Again, the low in 2020 alone was 164,000. In 2022, when people were getting destroyed, I was still up because I had asymmetric bets that were pointed towards the future. So again, it's just one of those things where different people crack at different times, and you got to have a bunch of asymmetric bets pointed in different directions that have a high chance of success. That's the way I look at it. That's my take. So I'm not going to shit on the guy. I hope it turns out well for him. Carlo, so would you say about 30% cash TLT calls is about good right now? I think, yeah, especially with TLT. If you can 10x, if TLT does what I think it can do and it 10x's, and I think we can get an easy 20 to 30% move in TLT, because when I look at the history, that's what I see. I showed some of that yesterday, how the 20% move is kind of like, it can take a month, right? It can happen really fucking quick. Then, or I shouldn't say that, a couple months is probably a better way to say it. It can happen really quick. It can happen in a quarter. You can get a 20+% move. And calls could 10x from that. They haven't yet because we're dealing with just more sideways chop. Even though we've went up a little bit, it just hasn't moved that much. But yeah, so I think those can 10x. So if you have, honestly, if you have 10% of your portfolio in that, and these things can 10x, you're going to offset a lot of risk. And then having a little bit of cash doesn't hurt too. It's up to you on what you do, man. But that's kind of, again, a play like that, 30% sounds like you're going to be really well positioned. I think, though, we bounce first. So I would look to do more of that later personally, but I could be wrong. I can always be wrong. Stevie G, should be term limits for senators? Yes. Otherwise, it's just geriatric. Yes, exactly. We need all that. It's going to be hard to accomplish, but maybe we can get there. Fox and Trox, turtles evolved from Mitch. Yes. Nick, can't really judge people from rebalancing if they feel like, yeah, dude. And I don't know his portfolio. He doesn't show it unless you're paying for it. I don't even know what it is. I'm not subscribed to him, or at least I think I'm not. Nick, can't really, sorry. Amit, apparently the F word is too vulgar for YouTube. I very much dislike Tim Waltz. Tim Waltz is a piece of shit. Scott King, 68,000 CleanSpark shares strong. I'm like Lieutenant Dan in the storm. All right, cool, man. Well, and since you're holding shares, you're safer, right? Jorge Rodriguez, morning, Jesse. WBU Riot. I don't know what WBU. Would you buy Riot? Would you buy? I don't know. Riot isn't really my thing, and I haven't paid as much attention to miners. If anything, I'll be looking at miners as I make a bunch of money. I'll be looking at miners to see which ones are going to fail in the next cycle or drop 90%, so that I can short the fuck out of them. I will do that. I'll probably pick a couple of miners that I short the fuck out of. As long as they look good and I can get an asymmetric return. People might already be doing that, but I think people will be, I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of ways to play it. There's biddy. There's a lot of ways to play downside protection when I think we've topped. I don't think we're anywhere close to that now. Akash, holding BTC miners last year has been frustrating. I'm sure that's what you were saying. Yeah, dude, I totally get it. It's been frustrating for me too. Alonis says, hey Jesse, Uber, Palantir, or Pain, do you own any? No, I don't. I made a bunch of money off of Palantir in 2023. I made 600%, 700%. Yeah, something like that. I made a lot of money off of Palantir, and then I did really good with Robinhood. Robinhood, I made 1,800% off of between 2023 and 2024. I do not own Palantir right now. I still think it's over the short term overvalued, just because, again, I think it's one of those things where, let me pull the chart over here. We got about 26 minutes, 25 minutes until market open, guys. But I think it's one of those things where, again, we went up. I mean, you just have to be okay with 2,000% returns in a period of less than 2 years on a stock. I think you're getting too greedy if you think that this thing's just going to 10x again when it's at a $200 billion market cap. So, and then again, the FOMC today, yep, at 1 o'clock, I'm going to do a show with that, probably most likely, 1 and 1:30. So we'll probably get the results. I'll do the 1 o'clock, get the results. We can talk about some shit, and then we'll wait for Papa Powell to speak at 1:30. But this has more downside. There's a gap over here that I think we actually filled that gap. Yes, we did. Or no, I'm sorry, not a gap. This is where I'm showing support zones. Gaps are here, 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 here. And again, you don't fill all of them, right? So like, I don't think we're ever going to fill this one. I don't even know if we'd fill this one. But is there a chance that we fill this one before we hit this peak volume over here? Because again, there is a nice little shelf over here at the 38 zone. Yeah, it's possible, dude. We could go down here and clear this. And again, that would be how far of a drop would that be? We've already seen in Palantir a 41% drop. That hurt some people. Some people that were probably real cocky, like that one dipshit. Does anybody remember his name? I don't remember his name. He's like some cuck. Oh, Garcia Capital. Yeah, that's what it is. Like that guy probably got hurt. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to him. But he probably got hurt. But could it drop 67%, especially if we get like some major rout because of slowing economies and shit like that, and we don't hear like amazing good news? Yes, the valuation is very steep on this thing. It's possible we get down here into the 40 range. If that happened, then I'm probably looking at asymmetric bets for it and opportunities to the upside, but not right now. I'm not. And Pain, I don't know what Pain is, or is that Pan W? And Uber is just going to fucking die. It's going to die. The cybercab stuff that's coming out will kill it. Maybe a good short opportunity there. I don't know. Alex, yeah, that's the guy. That's the douchebag. Thank you. Tim Waltz cheering Tesla hitting 225 and dropping. Best sign of a bottom? Yeah, probably. And again, it's just one of those things where it's just a really douchey thing to do as well, right? Like it's a really shitty thing when people are firebombing Tesla dealerships to be like, woohoo, yay. I don't know. It's fucking retarded. I put real Donald Trump keeps doing everything he says he's going to do, and people keep doubting him. So this is about the JFK files. I think that they were down to like 30 or 20% bet that they were going to be released yesterday. Guess what? They were. And I put, he reminds me of Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is an even better version of that. So I think when Trump says he's going to do something, maybe we should look at it. A bunch of criminals getting deported that were soliciting sex for children and statutory sexual seduction and lewd and lascivious sexual battery with a victim of 12 to 15 years old. Get all these fuckers out of this country. It's all starting to make sense now. Judge and deportation battle was on FISA court that approved Trump's team's surveillance. And some of these guys like have family members that are benefiting from the stuff that they're doing. There's so much. It's these people will lose their jobs. Also, Canada Proud put liberals did this to Canada, not Donald Trump. Thank you for that, sir. How much has Canada's or GDP per capita grown in the past 10 years? Look at this. USA, 20.7%. Look at Canada, 0.5. You guys fucked yourself, okay? Don't blame it on us. Don't boo our national anthem. Boo yours. What did Justin say? Yeah. What about shorting Uber? Yeah, that might be a thing. That's actually probably on my list. I've got a bunch of shorts that I'm going to be looking at because, again, I love TLT. I think it's going to do well, but having other hedging strategies isn't a bad idea either. I'm just looking for good asymmetric ones that people aren't paying attention to. Court finds DA Fani Willis guilty. Guess who has to pay Trump's legal fees? This dumb bitch. Again, another person that, like, did this political persecution against Trump is going to pay the price. There's going to be a lot of people like that. Breaking, less than 12 hours after I exposed Judge James Boasberg's conflict of interest with his daughter, Catherine, who works for a 501c3 called Partners for Justice that gives criminal, illegal aliens and gang members legal advice. So she's been profiting and getting money from this. And at the same time, the judge makes this decision. And there's so much of this crap out there. Pam Bondi saying that they're going to go after. It says this one federal judge thinks he can control foreign policy for the entire country, and he cannot. Right now, we're evaluating our options. So there will be more coming out of this. Again, there's tons of this. And right here, look at this. Director Kash Patel says the FBI last night extradited from Mexico a senior leader of MS-13 and a member of the 10 most wanted list, Francisco Javier Roman Bardales. He's gone. He won't be returning. He was arrested in Mexico and he's being transferred. He's probably going to be going to the El Salvadorian prison where we're paying 35 to 40% of the cost we'd pay in the United States to incarcerate people in a maximum security prison. And this is insane, guys. This is Mark Carney. He says, listen to this. You just got to listen to this. This is fucking crazy.
Regime that's in place in Canada, and a variant of this regime is in place. There are some variants, as you know, Tonda, between the provinces, but a variant of this, linked to California, is in place with Quebec and British Columbia, is to have a form of price for the largest on carbon, for the largest emitters, said differently, the largest polluters. Now, what we are doing is changing that system or improving that system so that the price that's paid can be reduced by so-called carbon credits that are allocated. We're adding additional ones. We will be adding additional ones.
Fucking crazy.
That ensure that the polluters are paying so that Canadians can receive support to reduce their own emissions. So it's a more efficient system. It works better for the large polluters. It works better for Canadians. And it also is
this guy's fucking crazy. So he's saying that for a trade requirement with the UK, EU, and Asia, that's bullshit. China is the biggest fucking polluter on this fucking earth right now. Okay, they've produced massive amounts of coal factories, not clean coal, not anywhere close to clean. The most polluting factories on earth. Sure, they're spinning up other stuff too, but they have no problem using cheap coal. They just want energy. And so to act like this is a requirement for trade is fucking ridiculous. And the United States is doing the exact opposite of this. Canada, here it is, guys. Canada is going into stagflation. Okay, you can't raise taxes, you can't reduce your GDP, and have your yields are going up on your bonds. You can't have this kind of environment and do the things that they're looking to do and not have stagflation. So that's what Canada gets to experience, stagflation. And then the tariff regiment that we have against them. You guys are fucked. Good luck. I'll pray for you. All right, let's listen to real quick. Batya is one of my new favorite people. I feel like she looks like a dark-haired Kate Hudson. She's a proud Jew. I think that's great. Everybody should be proud of where they come from. As long as you're not talking about murdering other societies around you, I'm cool with you. But I think she's fucking great. She's brilliant. Her mind is just next level compared to these other people. I want to hear what she has to say about Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ending the war and NATO and all of this. Let's listen to what she has to say.
This war is going to end along the lines that it began along. It's going to end with a ratification of what the status quo was in 2022, which is that Crimea is part of Russia, Donetsk, Luhansk, the Donbass. At the time, it was an independent republic supported by Russia. It will be declared part of Russia, and Ukraine will be declared not part of NATO. And that is crucial because Ukraine could have also avoided this by not saying we are pursuing membership in NATO.
And to be clear, guys, the United States pushed for that. So we pushed for that. We told them, hey, don't worry about it. We got your back. Fuck Russia. So this has been a plan that's been going on for a very long time. We started this push with Obama, and we did it again with Biden. We pushed to have these guys join NATO. Okay, and even when Trump was the president, there were people behind the scenes working to do this against his objectives. So we pushed for this to happen. Europe pushed for this to happen, and the United States pushed for this to happen. We pushed for this war, and then when Afghanistan fell and we just botched that withdrawal, I think it let Putin know, oh shit, we got our time. Let's go after it. I 100% agree with that.
That if they were part of NATO, then Putin wouldn't have invaded. Well, if they hadn't been threatening it, and if we hadn't been threatening to bring them.
All that said, he did invade Crimea and these other areas before. So Putin's a bad guy too. There's two sides to every tale, okay?
Into NATO, it also wouldn't have happened. And the reasons that Ukraine does not have membership in NATO, it's not just because of Russia, it's because it actually doesn't qualify. It is an unbelievably corrupt country.
True.
And that is not to denigrate an ally or what have you. It is simply to state the truth.
But to be fair, that seems to be most of the EU.
That 1 million young men ago, there was a status quo that we in the West were threatening. And so, yes, Putin goes out and makes speeches about the greater Soviet Union, but Dave is totally right. Ukraine is its buffer zone. And
it is logistically, even if you just look the mountain, like the range is defensible. So like you would want Ukraine is the buffer zone because ideally if Russia had to defend itself militarily, it would have Ukraine. So I 100% agree. It's the buffer zone.
Russia is allowed to have legitimate security interests, even if they do things we don't approve of, like start a bloody war. They have legitimate security concerns, which we triggered.
I'm sorry. Are you guys literally getting like Russian Kremlin talking points? Because I listen to Kremlin talking points in Russian, and I'm hearing them translated into English right now. This is absolutely insane.
We're back to Russiagate. This is great. This is where the Democrats.
Yeah, Russiagate is all they have left. Because again, all you have to do, it's funny, these same people will call me a Nazi or call her a Nazi, even though she's a Jew, even though she's talking on behalf of Russia, a country that helped us overthrow the Nazis. These talking points, I just find, it's like words don't even mean anything anymore. But again, it's okay if we have some alignment with Russia. It doesn't make us Nazis. It doesn't matter how many times you use the word. We have strategic benefits of partnering with Russia. Russia is one of the most resource-rich places on earth, even though they've been horribly managed and just doing stupid things, like invading Georgia, like invading Ukraine, like all these things, right? Putin is a dipshit. I just want to be very clear. That's my opinion on it. But there's a reason why we should have a strategic relationship with us that benefits us. All right. Thousands of Houthi supporters gathered in Sanas to protest American strikes in Yemen. So again, these guys are pieces of shit, terrorists. We should blow them all up. Concerned Canadian, total trade with France was less than $9 billion trade. With the U.S., it's over $900 billion. Where do you think he should have been instead? And this guy, his wife might be his father or a school teacher. I don't know, dude, but it's definitely a dude who has a penis. I won't even go into that, but like that's what I'm seeing. I didn't believe this, but my wife got me going down this path, which is weird because she's a pretty liberal person. But yeah, pretty sure his wife has a penis and might have, whatever. It's whatever. It's weird, man. Stalin just as bad as Hitler. Oh, Stalin was worse than Hitler. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. He did, but he starved his own people. There were stories about people that literally were eating their own children and pickled their own children in barrels so that they wouldn't starve to death. Stalin was a horrible person. You're right. Mao was a horrible person. Hitler was a horrible person. Let's all agree that Donald Trump is none of those things because he's not murdering people. Can we just agree that that's what a Nazi would do? That's what a horrific communist would do. Whether it's Mao, whether it's Stalin, whether it's Hitler, that these people are really, really fucking bad, and that Donald Trump isn't that. Can we just agree on that? Ian, breaking. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis officially calls on Florida counties to work with the Florida Doge team to review local spending and financial practices. Yes, there is going to be a Doge in Florida, and they're going to try and clean up their state. As that, Florida's already a great representation of what you want to be, outside of high insurance costs and all this other bullshit, right? Because of storms that go through and things not being built the way they're supposed to. They're a great representation, and them doing Doge, I think you'll see it in Texas. I think you'll see it across a bunch of Republican states. And if all the liberal states want to continue to see outflows, that will be a great way to do it. Continue to encourage illegal immigrants to flow into your cities and to pay for all their bills while you increase people's taxes, while all the Republican states do the exact opposite of that. That's going to work out super good for you. Yeah, Mao Zedong was literally the biggest murderer in history. 50 to 60 million people that died in that one. Stalin, I think Stalin might have even had more than Hitler. I don't know. I'd have to go up and look at the numbers. But Hitler was also a brutal, disgusting person. They incinerated and brutally murdered and starved children for fun. I don't know. Like, it's all disgusting. It's all disgusting. And again, Scott Bessent, he promoted the Hunter Biden IRS whistleblowers to leadership roles at the Treasury Department. I love this strategy that Trump has and that his team has of taking people that have been persecuted and putting them in the roles because they know what it's like. Let's listen to this real quick. I think this is beautiful. Again, Scott Bessent is the new Powell.
The culture of being able to come forward when you see wrongdoing is a central part of our democracy. I saw these two fellows before the president's address to Congress in Speaker Johnson's office. They came over to me and said, you know, sir, we're still being harassed. And I had been in touch with Senator Grassley about what was happening to them, but seeing them in person really brought it home for me. So I went and decided I would bring them into Treasury, give them a year to investigate the wrongdoing that's going on at the IRS, and then they will go back in. Mr. Shapley will serve as the senior deputy for investigations and enforcement. So we'll have them in Treasury. We'll learn what's been going on at the IRS, what's been wrong, how could this Hunter Biden nonsense have happened, and we're going to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone again, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, or independents.
I love this so much, dude. We're doing so many things right now, guys. It's just a matter of hedge your bets on the timing of our success. That's literally that's to me, that's what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to make sure that I have enough time frames, and that if we have a downfall because of short-term pain, because these guys said we're okay with short-term pain if it fixes America and makes it better for our fucking children. And that's what we're going to do. David Sachs, 18 hours ago, President Trump has secured an energy and infrastructure ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war. So again, it's energy and infrastructure. There was some talk that I heard that right after that, Putin had violated that. I'm not going to believe that until I actually hear it from more reputable sources. There are plenty of people that don't want the war to end and that still want to play Putin as the bad guy. So I'm not going to believe it until I get it from really reputable sources. I'm just not. I'm not. And I don't believe anything in the war anymore on either side because they both hate each other so much. They both committed atrocities. I've seen them. I've seen the horrible shit that's went down in this war and the innocent people that have been able to participate in it. I would say that most of the horrible shit was done by the Russians, but the Ukrainians have definitely done their fair share. A lot. Anyway, so this is good. It's a step forward. We like step forwards. This is crazy. Australians don't have the same freedom of speech laws that they have in the United States, and for that reason for that is that we want to hold together multicultural communities. When did Australians choose to trade their freedom for multiculturalism? Let's listen. This is 40 seconds.
There's been some that have been agitating in the Parliament to nullify the laws, to remove them off the statute books. Think about what kind of toxic message that would send to the New South Wales community. And I think the advocates for those changes need to explain, what do they want people to have the right to say? What kind of racist abuse do they want to see or be able to lawfully see on the streets of Sydney? I recognise, and I've fully said from the beginning, that we don't have the same freedom of speech laws that they have in the United States. And the reason for that is that we want to hold together our multicultural community and have people live in peace, free from the kind of vilification and hatred that
Yeah, so you have to say only good things about people that aren't white. I think that's essentially what we're talking about, or transgender, or whatever other fucking thing. So they believe in racism. They believe that people shouldn't have the ability to express themselves. And again, don't get me wrong. If you're terrorizing people, you should have laws against that. If you're threatening death against people or a group of people, there should be laws, or encouraging that kind of stuff. There should be laws against that, right? There are words that are bad, right? But if you just have difference of opinion, like what we saw in the UK, where you have a man that was saying, hey, these rape gangs are raping a bunch of fucking white girls and killing off part of our indigenous population, and the stats tell us that's true, you shouldn't go to prison for 10 fucking months. But it sounds like authoritarianism isn't just in the UK. Again, there's this global thing that we want to do where we go after people, and this is just another one of them. You said XAI deal. What is that about, dude? Let me just find that real quick. Not Ozzy. Oh, that could get scary. All right. God, I can't even type. XAI. Grok, conversion table. Do you guys have a link? If you guys could tag me. Can you guys tag me? DeepSeek search. Oh, that's cool. Oh, no, this is just deep search. Aha, I found it. Thank you, guys. Oh, I should have brought more water. I didn't. I hate it. My throat gets dry. The house is dry. I gotta remember to bring that stuff. All right, let's see here. You know what? I'm just gonna put that. Oh no, I like to put it under the appropriate category. I'm not really good at this, but we'll do AI chips. All right. So this is cool. So let's just read this real quick. They joined a $30 billion infrastructure fund with Nvidia, Microsoft, and BlackRock. It's official. XAI just joined Microsoft and BlackRock in a $30 billion AI infrastructure partnership set to reshape the future of AI. This elite group is building the next-gen data centers and energy solutions needed to power AI at scale, with Elon right at the center. GE, Vernova, and NextEra are on board to make no mistake. XAI is the real game changer here. Beautiful, guys. Yeah, bell in 5 minutes. I might use that opportunity to get something to drink because I am dying over here. What is this? Hire American. 30,000 Americans have just been fired from the government jobs that are gone forever, replaced by a XAI, artificial intelligence, and people still crying about immigrants taking jobs. What a loser. What a fucking loser this is. Yeah, guys, it's okay. We can actually have JD Vance spoke about this yesterday. It was a really good conversation. Bell in a couple of minutes here, 3 minutes, or 4 minutes. And he talked about how we can have innovation, and we should encourage innovation, and at the same time rework it. Where again, what did Biden say? He's like, oh, hey, you guys in the mines can just go ahead and become programmers. Fucking shows how much he knows. Programmers are the ones losing all their jobs, and administrators. So I just find that ridiculous. But again, there will be reworking of occupations. There will be change. There will be disruption. That's okay. We're okay with that. That's a part of life. Tampon Tim. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Let me just see here real quick, guys. I want to see, I'm going to do live. I'm just going to see if there's anything entertaining before the bell, and then I'm going to get my coffee real quick right before it rings. Trump fires 2. Okay, I'm gonna leave it on this. I don't know who he's fired. All right, I'm gonna leave it right here, and then I'll jump back in a second. Give me 1 sec, guys.
For a number of the nation's major law firms, preventing them from doing any number of things. But you know what? I want to turn to DC.
To talk about.
I want to turn to DC right now, actually, as well.
Sure.
But really get to this firing of the 2 Democratic members of the Federal Trade Commission, Jim. Both commissioners now saying they were illegally fired. One of the commissioners, Alvaro Bedoya, posted a video last night on X. You can check out his reaction.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alvaro Bedoya, and I'm one of 2 commissioners at the Federal Trade Commission who the president is trying to illegally fire. Right now, you cannot be thinking about me. You have to be thinking about the billionaires over Donald Trump's shoulder at his inauguration. I am currently suing Amazon in not 1, but 2 lawsuits. I am enforcing a 20-year privacy consent decree against X. I am sitting as a judge in a matter where FTC staff is trying to strengthen the privacy rules that apply to Meta. I am also sitting as a judge in a separate matter in which FTC staff is alleging that pharmacy middlemen are illegally raising the price of insulin. Who is helped by this attempt to remove me? Is it people like you, or is it the billionaires who have sent hundreds of millions of dollars into Donald Trump's pockets? That is the question to ask right now.
We're also going to be speaking with the other commissioner, who is Rebecca Kelly Slaughter. That'll be in the next hour of Squawk on the Street. Jim, the Trump administration continues to try to sort of go down this unitary executive theme and test many things that'll end up at the Supreme Court. It would seem pretty clear at this point in terms of, the quasi-judicial so-called independence of commissioners such as this one that had been established, I think it was in 1935, when FDR actually got pushed back from the court. That's the road they're going down, and obviously this is another example of it.
Well, look, I think that when you think about the sophisticated way that...
All right, I'm going to pause this real quick. So, also, something I wanted to talk to you guys about. I, tomorrow, will not be around for a show because I'm taking my nephew to go pick up the Model 3 that I bought for him. And we got to get there by 2. So I probably need to leave around 9. So I'll probably it'll be a short, or you know what, I'll do a stream tomorrow, but I'll probably end it at 8:30, just so I can get out the door. So, so just so you guys know, I will do one tomorrow, but it'll probably be quicker, or maybe it'll even be 8 and just be an hour. But I will get something out. All right, let's get to live here.
Data that indicates something else.
Here we go.
Yes, but a mixed data picture means that things aren't as good
Ripple
as we
case is
think.
over? Wow, lots of good stuff happening, guys.
Bad. Out here, David, the amount of spend that we're talking about. BlackRock did this deal this morning with Jensen. Hey, they're talking about a $7 trillion opportunity in a data center.
All right.
That spend is unrivaled.
Yeah, there's nothing like the spend that you're going to see or are seeing when it comes to the capex needed.
All right, we got our bell, guys. Let's look over here and see how we're doing. Pre-market looks good. We got Tesla up, so I'm up 5% on my TSLLs. That's not bad. A little bit less than that now. I feel like we're getting bouncy here, guys. TSLL isn't the best to look at. We can look at more later. Looks like Palantir is getting a little bit of a bounce. I still think Palantir can go lower if there's anything. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But let's look at the watch list here. Can we have a huge green date? We could. It depends on what Powell has to say. If he's hawkish still, man, I think the market's going to take a huge shit. But if he's not, if he actually talks about, yeah, Mara's up 2.5%, CleanSpark's up 2%, but they got butchered yesterday. So, I mean, we haven't really went anywhere but down, right? We'll look at those charts in a second. But it's nice to see Near up, Ethereum up, Optimism. This is some layer 2 stuff on Ethereum. We got TSLL. MSTU and MSTX getting a bounce. That's good. Got brutalized yesterday. Let's bring it back up. Iron, Tesla, MicroStrategy, all the stuff. Again, all the miners. We're seeing some stuff that's good. And BABA, guys, the Chinese stocks are going to underperform. They had a big run. So whether you made that or not, I personally fucking hate it. And I would, if anything, want to short Chinese companies. I wouldn't short BABA because the government can keep them open forever. Same with BYD. But I fucking hate Chinese stocks. I don't want to support communism. Yeah, Stock Trader Max left, which is okay, Casper. I mean, people drop off. We talked about that a little bit earlier in the stream. It is what it is. I try not to be mean to people. Move index is down. Let's look at a few charts here, guys. There's interesting stuff happening. So gold is down a little bit today. I think that's good. If we look at oil, guys, I think we're getting ready for the biggest massive shit in oil. We'll see what happens here. It doesn't happen to happen right now, but again, we've got trend lines that go back a ways here, and I'm actually going to make these light because I don't think they have as much power, and so I don't want to make them. If anything, I think this is probably one. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna kill him. I can bring him back later. Both of these, because this is what really matters. The descending triangle in oil. I've told you guys already that we could have it as crazy as getting into the 30s. I think that real quick here in the next couple of months, we're going to be in the 50s. That is getting ready to play out. I'm also the person who called the top right over here. I call the top around the 115 range in oil once I saw it drop back underneath it here. I called the double top, and then oil proceeded to just fall off a cliff. Everybody was screaming 200 over here, guys, and it wasn't real. But oil is looking good. Let's take a look at the dollar. The dollar climbing a little bit today, but again, we've had such a precipitous drop from $1.10 down to $1.03 and change. This is great, and we could find some steadiness over here, but I've said this for a while. I think the dollar can just chop, and I'm very impressed. This rising broadening wedge is probably a good thing. It could chop to break down, but I think we're good. I don't see any major breakouts to the upside in the dollar anytime soon, and that makes me happy. Also, the S&P, it's trying to do some stuff. It really wants to break out, guys. If we don't get a hawkish Fed today, I think today could be a good recovery day. Again, we had a nice wick. Didn't quite get it on the S&P. We do have a rising broadening wedge. This is bad, but these can happen on the daily over the longer trend. You can see this in the S&P. But what I like, so this one's still under the .618. I'd like to get above that. I'd like to get above 5680 and turn this into support. That would be a really good sign of a continuation pattern, because we don't have like crazy volume until you get up here around the 6,000 range. And or 6,040, once you get up to this, you're like guaranteed a breakout higher, most likely, just because we spent so much time up here. It's very, very unlikely that we roll over. But again, actual macro events can change that. Soul Strategies is a decent risk to reward. I don't know. What is it at today? Let me see here. Soul Strategies is up 5%. So Soul Strategies was at 88 cents earlier in the week, and now it's already $1.60. It's doubled. Is it a good opportunity? I don't know. It could be. If Soul does really well, it could be. It's $242 million cap. I don't know what the NAV is, though. So I can't buy that one, so I haven't spent a lot of time on it. So I don't know, man. So you'll have to research that and make sure that it's decent. You don't want to pay a really large premium. Now, looking over here, this is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ I actually liked a lot. If you look over, or was it the NASDAQ or maybe the Russell? Maybe it was the Russell. Let's look at the weekly here. Yeah, no, it was the Russell. The NASDAQ actually got beat up pretty good. But on the NASDAQ, though, we can't see. Peak volumes is right here. It's right up above us. So we do kind of have a support zone. 19,720 is where we want to hit. Let's look at the Russell real quick here. And Tesla up 3.21%. I think that news about the robotaxi is really helping. It looks like they got approvals. That's looking good. Some people could have thought this was a double top. I think the Russell is actually, I think this is kind of a weird looking inverse head and shoulders that will send us much higher. But this is a decent pop. And the fact that this is up, again, the whole thing, we're so dependent on Powell today. We shouldn't be, but we are. So we'll see what he has to say and what happens with markets. But so far, they're just kind of chilling. They're just kind of chilling to see what happens. Let's see. Liking TSLL moved DCA at 725 yesterday. I did a decent amount of buying. I think I don't even remember what I put in. I think I'm over 150K. Today it's probably up more. I'm at 160,000 in TSLL. So I do have Tesla exposure now. Thoughts on TTD? Is that a Ameritrade or which one? What's TTD? Remind me. All right. I want to keep going though here. So let's just look, let's see what else we have. That might be of interest. I do actually want to talk about Tesla too. So let's see. We got over Trump here. We got in the Australian side of things. We've got Dan Bongino, who's just going to tear shit up, dude. The deputy FBI chief. This guy is not going to fuck around. I think we're good for the Trump section. I do want to jump over to Tesla. And again, there's a bunch of talk about MicroStrategy. I did do some posts recently, guys. Again, I gave you the one on the pricing. I shared out one from Chris Millis. It says one for your bookmarks. It shows MicroStrategy, the strike, and then Strife, and then what they represent, the priority of liquidation, the conversion features, the voting rights, the volatility, the Bitcoin upside, the dividend, and the type. And again, I do think that there's pretty massive downside risk for MicroStrategy after the bull market is over. I do want people to understand that. But I know that, and I don't know if I ever got a response to this. I posted, I don't think this is the actual link. Did Rex ever respond back to me? Rex was talking shit about MicroStrategy again, or about somebody who was talking shit about, or talking about MicroStrategy. And so I let him know, hey, MicroStrategy's closest convertible bond maturity date is 9/14/2028. Again, there are times where that can happen sooner, where they can negotiate that sooner. But there are really brilliant people that are in the MicroStrategy realm And this video is one of them right here.
This is something that
This guy right here, again, on forward guidance, this guy traded convertible bonds and worked in these sectors for a while. He's talked to MicroStrategy a bunch. He talks about the good and the bad and the liquidation risk and just a bunch of stuff. But he said unless there's an 80% drawdown on MicroStrategy that they don't have to worry about, or on Bitcoin, that they don't have to worry about liquidation risks. And they have so many different vehicles that they can play around with as far as funding. I just don't see any of this as a concern, and I didn't hear if Rex Finance had a response. So if you guys saw any of that, tag me on it. I haven't seen it. Also, British Hodl said all the debt that MicroStrategy has taken to buy Bitcoin is unsecured against the Bitcoin. They don't have to worry about margin call risk. I 100% agree, but again, they do have dividends to pay now, and there's a dividend amount on Strife. One's like the 10%, one's the 8%. These are different vehicles to try and obtain money. And so again, they're continuing an aggressive strategy. We know they're already going to have 21 billion for what was it their latest, was it Strike before Strife? I can't remember. They're just doing so much. It's hard to keep up with, but I think Ben Workman's a good one. There's a guy, it's not Batia. That's the lady, the Jewish lady. There's another dude too that talks about this stuff a lot. He's lived in the convertible bond world. He's a big one. And again, this other guy right up here, what was his name? Let me find him real quick and give you his name just so you have reference points. But there's people that are really good at this.
And you know that
Richard Byworth. And I've actually follow him on X now too, but there's people that are really good at this stuff. Ben Workman, Richard Byworth, and then Bot something. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? He does a Bitcoin cast. He's big in like the bond space too and work. Nick Bhatia. Thank you. Nick Bhatia. Follow Nick Bhatia too. These people know a lot more, and I don't want to disparage Rex, but I mean Rex is a farm kid who's like young, and I think he's smart, and I think he's doing a ton of research, and I think he's going to be brilliant in the future and has some brilliance now. But these are people that are weathered and that know these industries really, really well. So the Bitcoin layer is another good one. He talks to Michael Howell all the time. There's just some people you got to follow and you got to listen to what they're saying, and they'll be able to refute things better than others. Okay. Jeff Walton's great. Josh Mandel had the great trade, right? He's brilliant. And what was Josh under? You got me interested in that. That's a segue that I haven't even talked about. I was listening to the North whatever group and talking about Josh, and Josh is just he's a brilliant dude. Josh Mann and his history, Salmon Brothers, 90 to 98, bond portfolio analysis, government desk, long bond trader, derivatives, short dated options trading head, Caxton Associate hedge fund. This guy's brilliant. He absolutely nailed some of this recent shit, man. MicroStrategy True North. Jeff did another video with Richard Byworth 6 days ago. I don't know if I saw that one, but I'll check it out. Thank you, Danny. But there's just some brilliant people. All the ones we've just talked about, these are people you have to follow. You have to follow them. Peter Schiff tweets are very bullish. Yeah, Peter Schiff tweets are always bullish. If he's shitting on Bitcoin, it means gold has topped and it's time to buy Bitcoin. That's usually what it means. But yeah, Josh is a brilliant guy. Ignore this private group shit. These are just a bunch of fucking hacks. 7 followers. Yeah, stay away from that guy. But Josh Mann has blown up. He's got 102. I think this guy had like 10,000 a month ago. So he's blown up quicker than I've seen anybody blow up. But that's good though, man. Good people should do well. We want them. We want to figure out who these people are, and we want to talk to them and find them and follow them, right? He turned $2 million into $24 million just with MSTR this year. Yeah, the MSTR trade was a good one. I think he called the recent drop too, right? Isn't that where he made a bunch of money recently? Is he another person who called the 400,000 target? I don't know off the top of my head. Let me know. All right. Anyway, I want to go to Tesla. Peter's such a top signal. Yeah. So here's the thing that people were talking about, right? Here's the cunt, little Tim Waltz, probably tampons in his pocket, talking about Tesla.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off.
So what's funny about this is most people that own Teslas are liberal. You know why? Because they've been selling them for well over a decade. And the people that bought them were the people that believed in climate change and all this other shit. Okay? So it's ironic that we're shitting on Tesla, and then also the people that are going after this Dogequest site and the people firebombing and basically, destroying, scratching swastikas on Jewish owners' Cybertrucks, calling them Nazis. It's fucking insane because they're mostly attacking liberals, people that are liberal adjacent, or people that have recently felt alienated from the party who are now just like, fuck them. I'm never going back. So you've got to be an idiot. You've got to be an idiot if you're doing this to try and hurt Tesla. And they're going to, again, they're probably like Tim Waltz might be a bottom signal. I'm still hoping we drop to 185. So that's where my bias is on Tesla, guys. My bias is right here. I want it to drop. It's such a beautiful confirmation. Such a beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. This actually is probably the bottom. Okay. Why do I say that? Because of where I just was. And I've got to like zoom a little bit over here to get rid of this. I need my volume profile to update. Update, you piece of shit. Let me go into here. I'll just narrow the time frame a lot. Update. I don't know why it's not updating. There we go. Okay. Now I can draw this out a little bit. I'm not going to go all the way down because it'll change the volume profile, but you can go back years. You can go back years and see that we were, it's like 2 years, and see that we were at peak volume. Now we have more in front of us right now, right? But if we go back a couple of years, we can see peak volume, and we're above this range. Well, now it's just changing all the fucking time. I don't know exactly what time frame it's under, but we're above the range for at least the last year on peak volume. Let me go here. What is this? 2024. Yeah, so roughly the last year. It isn't adjusting again, but we're at peak volume for the last year and finding support on it right here. See that right there? Sorry, sorry, but you can see. Let me see. I might have to adjust this a little bit because I can't see it too well. Yeah, okay. So this is back into 2024, a year ago. You can see that we're at peak volume and we're finding perfect support on it. It's also on near a fib level. So this could be it. But I would love it if we could drop down to the 185 range, where we find this trend line level of support that was previous resistance going back 4 years. That would just be so sweet. So my preference, when you guys are listening to me, realize that I am biased and I want Tesla to hurt more. I want it to hurt more, and I hope it can. But it's also down 55% from where it was at. And if we go down to this other level, it would be down 62%, which would be really close to, again, what we had over here, where we dropped 67%. This is a huge steep drop. So I don't know if it can go that far. I hope it does. I want to buy more. What percentage probability do you give Tesla to drop to 185? Maybe 25, 30. So I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but I hope it is. And here's the thing. I've been buying TSLL. If we get down to 185, I'm probably going to pick actual stock options. I'll let you guys know what those are. But I'll be more strategic because that's going to be such a great opportunity, and I think those will give me a greater yield. So I might start buying onto that. I'll maybe still keep the TSLL for just the short term of it, but again, looking to buy some of these others. That's what I think about Tesla right now. Bitcoin update. Bitcoin's doing great. I mean, it's at 84,000. We love that, right? That's a good number. Could it end up rolling over because the Fed's a dipshit? Yes, it could. Tesla, speaking of dipshits, Vancouver, Canada, boo hiss. What's the Canadian national anthem? I want to boo it. They are kicking us out, Tesla out of their car show that they do, their international car show. Then this Dogequest thing is pure evil, guys. So this thing, I haven't looked at it to see what, I'm sure I'm on there, but it shows everybody that works with Doge on here. It shows Tesla facilities, and it shows people that own cars. And look at this, Shane Ferrator, the current home of Shane, who is Luke Ferrator's father and a lecturer at, this is sick. This is sick, making people targets. It's also highly illegal. They've hid themselves pretty well, but I could see some people going after them. MSTR is up 3% right now, guys. Let's look over here. I'm going to pull this one over real quick. Just take a look at it. So again, this is breakout territory. This is why I'm not selling right now. This is breakout territory. So this is looking good. I'm going to put this over here because 300, once we get above 300, that's going to be a good sign. And really, we'll have a run. I think we could have a run from like 315 to maybe even testing up to this 100 moving average to 324, and maybe even the 338 range if things start to take off because we get good news today. And I would make a lot of money off of that. So just to give it an indication here, the investment is 2x. If it runs in short order, I could get probably 25% upside in a very short period of time off of $1 million, roughly $250,000, to maybe $250,000 to $350,000 in gains. And again, I'm looking to take some of that, maybe all of those gains, and keep it at $1 million, maybe even drop it down lower, and then put that towards additional hedging strategies and or things that aren't performing that are greater asymmetric bets than this, and just to balance out my portfolio. But I'm liking what I'm seeing today, and I'm starting to do better on this one. Let me see if I can show this. Let me pull this over real quick. So again, pretty beat up on the portfolio as of late, but if you look here, you can see that, and let me just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see that MSTU and MSTX have not treated me badly, guys. I'm up 25% on my position for MSTU here, and I'm down less than, this hasn't updated. I'm actually better than this. So this is probably up like 30% on this one. It's just sometimes, or that one might be updated. The option, or no, maybe it is updated. I don't feel like it is, but maybe it is. Yeah, no, maybe it is. So again, my average right now is not a great amount of loss, even though MSTX and MSTU have been utterly fucked. Utterly fucked. Let's just pull over MSTX from its high here. I have not incurred a huge portion of that. And I did take additional losses, though, because, again, I was in it, and then I got back out of it again, and then I've started to dial back in again. So I can't say that 20% is all my loss, or less than 20%. It's a little bit more than that. But this thing was down 89%. Or 88%, or more than that, actually. It's 88 right now. It was down 92% from its high, or roughly. Oh, that's probably wrong, too. Let's see here. About 92% from its high. So I consider myself still really lucky on this one, even though my timing has not been the greatest. I still feel good about what's happened with it. Again, not doing too bad. Don't hate it. But I think MicroStrategy is very much in a breakout zone. That's why I did the post. I think we can make a lot of money in the next couple of days. Hood, I love Hood, but I've already made 1,800% off of it, and I think it's greedy to think that I'm going to get a lot more. I don't look at Hood as the same asymmetric bet. That said, and I haven't looked at calls to see how they're performing. I still think that Hood could very easily this year go up 114% and hit its previous all-time high, and then it could go banana zone. Right? It could go banana zone. That's possible. We've already seen it happen to Palantir, and I think Vlad has done a great job running this company. That said, though, it did already go up 744%. Why not add to ARKG? I mean, I did yesterday. Does that count? Or no, the day before yesterday. My bad. Yesterday, I just did TSLL. But I did the day before that. Does that count? I feel like it does. I feel like it counts. So yeah, anyway, so I think so that's that, and again so that might be something that I add more to, but I've been adding a lot. I've been dialing into these a lot and increasing my asymmetric multiplier. Right now though, on my ARKG options, I'm down about 45% in total. So I've been brutalized pretty good, but I do have like $350,000 in them. So I feel like I've been adding. March 26th announcement for Hood. Yeah, there's always an announcement on Hood, dude. They're so good with their marketing. It's fucking ridiculous. Even the guy that ended up scamming them with some AI bots that won like the thing that they did recently, even he apologized and got to meet Vlad Tenev and gave the money back. Again, just more free marketing. It's fucking ridiculous. Kamala, Jesse, thoughts on EXOD as a potential coin alternative play? I don't know anything about it, so I wouldn't be able to feel like I could speak to it from a fundamental perspective. That's Exodus, right? I don't know anything about it. Is that a shit coin, or is that the actual exchange that's publicly traded? Maybe you could tell me. Scott King, hey Jesse, you ever look at your interested in KC Kingsoft Cloud? Curious your take on owning it. I don't know anything about that. What is it? Are you adding CleanSpark here? Again, I have been. If you guys follow my trades, guys, I post them all for subscribers. Don't need to see that. Not going to organizations. I post them all for subscribers. So if you should see this in the subs category. But I have been buying this stuff, right? Like, look here. This is 17 hours ago. I bought CleanSpark. I guess I did buy CleanSpark yesterday, and ARCG and TSLO. And then if we go back in the Wayback Machine all the way to March 12th, there's got to be more in here. Maybe I didn't. Or maybe it's not sorted. The bookmarks are weird. But again, ARCG. I sold some VITX. I bought ARCG. I bought Mara. I bought CleanSpark. I've been buying these things. I've been ARCG. Look at this. This is more on the 12th. Let's see. There's more days. But I've been buying. Cloud storage and computing. I don't know enough about that area to be able to really speak to it. I could look at financials and stuff, but I just don't know anything about it. So I just don't feel comfortable like with things that I haven't really put much or any effort into. And I am looking for shorts though, guys. So if you guys have any good idea for shorts for a failing economy, let me know. Let's look real quickly though and see how the market is performing again across the board. So it looks like up almost 7% on MSTX. Not hating it. Not hating it at all. Let's look at the watch list though. Sort this out. So iron, wow, iron. I've still got iron. I don't know how much I have. I can look at that later. But I've still got iron up 7.74%. So maybe they got some kind of HPC deal of some kind. I don't know. MSTU and MSTX still up there. Optimism up there near Ethereum. Fannie Mae getting its opportunity. I think this one can climb too. CleanSpark, SMLR, FMCC, ETH, HUT, Sol. TSLL was up there. Is Tesla starting to drop at all? Ooh, is it dropping? Oh, it's up 2.45%. So it's up almost 5% for TSLL. So that still looks good. Again, I want it to go lower. I don't want it to go up. I would like MicroStrategy to go up and for TSLL to go down. That way maybe I could buy some more of that, maybe buy some more of my other favorite multipliers and increase my hedging strategy. That would be cool. EC, thank you for the 10 memberships. Again, I was having a no membership gift thing. I think I'm past it. I don't care if people talk shit. I've lost, my portfolio's down like 55% or something from where it was at its very, very peak of its tippity top. But that day was amazing. I was up like almost $1 million that day. So I can't even necessarily call that the top. So I don't care. It's one of those things. It's hard sometimes. I get it with Stock Trader Max. It's hard sometimes to be on public display and have to show people and be transparent. It's really hard when you're as transparent as I am to do what I'm doing because you have some people like that Garcia douchebag who will just shit talk you no matter what. And when you're literally showing people what you've done, like all my portfolio balance lows, because that's the only thing I tracked in previous years. And now I'm also adding in my low for the current year and then high for the current year and then my current status. So it's just not always up and to the right. That way you guys see when I have pain, right? But when you're this transparent about what you're doing and you're showing all your trades, it's painful sometimes. You don't even want to pull it up. You don't want people to think you're wrong. You don't want them to lose conviction when you have high conviction. It's hard. And so for a while there, I don't know, sometimes it's just hard. And, but my commitment to you guys is still that I show it. I'm still going to show it. Not always timely with some of these things like my portfolio updates. Because again, it's just like, sometimes it's painful and it's also laborious to pull this shit up because I haven't found a good one that tracks options prices, and that will show stuff in this way. So, as well as stocks. So I haven't found a good way to automate it too. But yeah, again, I try not to judge too harshly because this stuff sucks. Oh, fuck. My screen just readjusted. Son of a bitch. This might be our end. Because I hate that shit. I can kind of work through it. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Let's focus on that. Let me just drag this over. So sometimes I get this static electricity thing where my screen fucking adjusts and it just drives me nuts. And it just did that, so it moved stuff from my main window over to my left window, and then moved some things from my left window over to other parts. And so it's just a massive pain in the ass. But I want to real quickly just look. I want to make sure that there's nothing else with Tesla or any other news that I wanted to cover. But thank you again, man. Are you dabbling in Bitcoin futures on Coinbase? Would appreciate. No, I haven't. I haven't touched any of that. I've really been focused. Moments away. Nvidia CEO. Oh shit. Fuck. All right, I'm gonna stick around for that. I want to hear what Jensen Huang has to say. It looks like he's coming up here too. Let's real quickly. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that. And then I'm not, and then later again, guys, 1 o'clock right before I'm gonna be doing the 1 o'clock with the FOMC, and we're gonna be looking at that shit. But I have not touched futures yet with Coinbase. I really don't trade on Coinbase because that's my buy and hold for my shit coins. I have shit coins in Hood too, so I don't. I hold that stuff for a year, right? Like that's all I want to do. But let's keep rolling through here with Tesla, and then we'll keep an eye out for him, so that we can listen to that right away when it comes out. And it looks like I do have it live down on my feed, so I'll know when that happens. Let's see. I appreciate you, bro, says Banshee. I've learned so much. Thanks, man. Raikonaut, thank you. EC, Amit, TBH, I like low figures because it means we'll get to hang out together and grind. Dude, I said this yesterday, and you know what? That's what I want to pull up. There's a lot to talk about, but but I want to talk about this. I think I put it under investment basics. And it's not really, I mean, it's just a talking point, but I want to talk to it. So, this right here, this little fucker, this little, whatever the fuck this is. I said, I make most of my money during times like we're experiencing right now. I just realized, or it's just realized later. So this is when I make my money, guys. It's when things look darkest and the bleak that I make my money. People talk about, oh, did you realize those profits? Did you sell yet? Yeah, that's the reward part. But I make my money in the down fucking market. This is how I've gotten rich. It's times like this where other people run away, where other people become emotional. And again, and maybe Stock Trader Max made the right choice. He might have, dude. So you can't shit on him right now. We'll find out soon enough whether he's right. But when these people that have the highest conviction fold, that's where I make my fucking money. And it's when these options contracts become ridiculous. Even Tesla, I'm looking at, again, like I said, if it drops further, I'm going to be looking at Tesla calls because I'm finding good ones that go way the fuck out that are giving me 6 to 7x the underlying again. Whereas before, when I was retarded and buying back into that same contract, and everybody's like, why are you buying back into that contract? It was just because I was retarded and not doing the math. And it was only 2x or in some cases even less of a return. It was stupid to buy back into that thing. I should have just been buying stock. And but now it's like 5, 6, 7x for some of these potential for 2027s. Fuck me, that sounds good. So again, it's one of those things where this is where I make my money. This is where I get rich. Right fucking here. Planning for the future, making sure that I still have money to buy the dip. I still got $400,000 to buy the dip, guys, and that money can turn 10x. So I can still be a multimillionaire in the worst of situations, but this is where I make my money. This is where you put your nose to the grind. This is where you do shit, okay? This is it. This is it. And if you don't realize that, you'll never make any money. You just won't do as good. You should probably just buy a fucking fund and stick with that shit. All right, let's see here. So history, Guy Scalps, Jesse, I have SPX BFs for Friday as FOMC hedge centered at 5,500 for puts and 5,700 for calls. I hope it works out. Sometimes you get chopped too. So sometimes your hedge gets butchered. But Bitcoin right now, I got to say, I think the market has been so brutalized and one of the fastest declines in history for the market. Right now we're seeing Bitcoin at 84.3. It feels like it wants to go higher. John Kirby, yes, you're a brave man for being so transparent. That's why we're here. Everyone loses it at some point. Yeah, dude, even I can't tell. If I told you that I was always 100% confident and there were days that I never had days where I just wanted to crawl into a fucking hole and hide, I would be lying to you. Okay? But I still come here. And I try and find if I believe that it would be bad for people to lose conviction and it's the wrong time. I still work my ass off to find reasons for you guys not to fucking do that and not to sell at the wrong time. Even though it would be much easier to just go take a fucking nap or go on a walk and hide and just what you know what I used to do? I would just fucking go work out. I would go hike. I would do fun things. But now I feel like there's ownership in this where I owe it to you guys to give you some hopium at the right time so that you don't make really bad decisions. So I bear a burden I used not to have to. It was just my own before. It's a little harder now. So I get it when people crack. I really do. Right now, 5% wrong. Stock Trader Max. Yeah, I know. He trust me, dude. He'll kick himself if he fucked it up. He'll kick himself. He doesn't need other people to do it for him. I think 2%, Jeff, a.k.a. Torch. Amit, Jesse, I've been looking at 300 and 400 Teslas for January 2027. They look good. I actually like the 600s. I've been looking at 600s too. But yeah, I think they look good. You're right, dude. I haven't bought anything yet, but I think they look good. And maybe the time already came to buy them. I don't know. I think that we might have more opportunity. And again, I'll disclose everything I have. Andrew, it seems like more and more people are calling for a recession and giving up. Dude, there's so many major players that are giving up and calling for a recession. I've never seen, I've lived through this shit. I have watched and participated and been excited and interested in markets since the fucking .com bubble. I watched that shit implode. And you know what I learned? Nobody on any of these, the .com bubble, the GFC, the 2020 pandemic, nobody knew it was happening before it was fucking here. And so when you hear the majority of people telling you that it's going to happen, you should be cautious. You should be really cautious because that's not how it works normally. Could it work that way? Sure. Does it normally? Almost never. Almost never. So when everybody's telling you that a recession's coming, maybe watch out because they're probably wrong. Victor Hernandez, I'm really pissed off. Reading him selling, he was a hyper. Yeah. Don't be too rough on him, man. He just broke. Trust me. I'm sure he believed all of those things, and then he just broke. And I've seen the best of traders break or get utterly destroyed from making the wrong calls and not being balanced enough. So don't be too harsh on him. He's young too, man. He's like in his fucking early 20s. He's like Rex. He's like a little baby. His balls barely dropped. Just give him a break. Gemini Knight, I'm down on my CLSK position by 25%, not selling my stock. Mentally prepared for Powell to rug pull me today. That's a good way to be. Matej, Jeremy calling for Elon to resign as CEO of Tesla. Jeremy the investor, he should shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Jeremy. Him and all these guys that made a fortune off of Tesla piss me the fuck off. Meet Kevin, Jeremy. You made your money off this motherfucker. You think you're the most brilliant trader in the world? You're not. You're good. I like Jeremy. I like him, okay? I think he's good at a lot of stuff. He makes some good calls. But you know what? He also makes tons of shitty ones. Tattooed Chef, anybody? Tattooed Chef? He got lucky on Fubo, I think. But there's a bunch of them that he's fucked up. So don't go all Ross Gerber, fucking meet Kevin. Be grateful. Be grateful for the opportunities you have and don't act like it's just fucking you. Oh, that pisses me off. It's fucking people like Elon Musk that have made you rich. Don't act like it's just you, motherfucker. Anyway. If you're bullish all the way down, clean spark, you got to be bullish when the best is still to come. You would hope. Yeah, you would hope. Agree, man. I have tremendous respect for you, brother. Thanks, dude. Jesse's the man in the arena and the investments. I try to be. And I try not to get too arrogant. I can definitely get arrogant. It's really, really easy to get arrogant when you get close to 7 million in a day. Then it's really easy. I actually met Meet Kevin I think Meet Kevin's a really nice guy. I think Jeremy's probably a really nice guy. But they should shut the fuck up about Elon Musk. They should shut the fuck up. Yeah, he's not that tall, I don't think. No, he's not. Scott King, Jesse, huge thank you for your sharing, teaching, and passion. Following your ideas grew my portfolio 9x at its high point. That's fucking cool. This last 3 to 4 month pullback, turnaround. We'll see. Yeah, the last 3 to 4 months have been rough, man. They have been. Before you, Jeremy was my main. I lost a lot on Tattooed Chef. Voyager. Oh yeah, he was pushing Voyager like the rest of them. WBA, AVTBF. I forgot about that shit. Yeah, dude. So don't act like you're holier than thou with Elon Musk, a builder. You know what I am? I'm somebody who tries to support builders. I'm not a fucking builder. I mean, hopefully I am. Hopefully I teach people how to invest and you guys allocate your money to make the world a better place, especially this fucking country. But I'm not a real builder, okay? Elon Musk is a fucking builder. He is the man in the arena. Donald Trump is the man in the fucking arena. And to just shit talk great fucking people that are making the world a better place pisses me off. big time. Gemini says, 100% agree, Jesse. That is very smart observation. When everyone is screaming recession, it's most likely the opposite. Always do the opposite of the mainstream financial news. Yes, sir. EC, thank you for the 10 memberships. Thank you for the $10 twice. Too many traders base their feelings off of profit alone. Elon is doing something bigger than our stock. Yes, dude. And again, I'm willing to lose shit tons of money if it means that my daughter lives in a better world. I will support these motherfuckers. Oh, he's on? He's on. Nvidia's on. Let me go back. I'll get there. Sorry, guys. Let me get back. All right, here we go. 1 second here. Yeah, I don't understand how people put profits above the betterment of humanity.
On 2028 versus 2029, the
capital. David, thank you, Sarah. Jensen, we are in the capital of artificial intelligence.
You sure are.
Yes, and you are the leader. And you put out a number yesterday. I've never heard a CEO ever say, listen, we got $1 trillion roadmap, and it's going to happen sooner? How is this possible?
Well, you know, we're building AI infrastructure for the world. And it is very clear now that we're about $150 billion of AI infrastructure into a journey of trillions of dollars of infrastructure. And so we've got a lot of AI to build.
I was here last year. Totally different feel, different vibe. Felt there was a limitation to it. What happened in 1 year?
Well, in 1 year, we made AI better. It's smarter now. It can reason. We made AI more useful. Just about every industry and every company, all these companies are all building AI into their systems and into.
And don't forget the charts that we looked at, guys, for infrastructure build out across the entire Magnificent Seven, and what we just heard about Tesla today with BlackRock and all of these guys. People that think this isn't real are fucking stupid.
Their products, and we've got a lot more energy and a lot more land, and just so much more desire to build out these AI infrastructures.
There were people who just even a month ago were saying, look, there's an outfit in China that is going to eliminate a lot of what NVIDIA
doesn't matter.
provides, and therefore
they still need
NVIDIA's these chips are way too expensive. What I saw yesterday was that not even a factor in your thinking or anyone else's thinking. It was an abstraction. It was a distraction.
Well, it is true that these processors and these computers are quite expensive. They're quite expensive to make. And this is the largest chip in the world. It is the most complex computer the world's ever made. And so it's expensive to make. However, it saves you a mountain of money because it does work, saves you a mountain of money because the amount of time it saves you.
Time, energy, everything.
The amount of times, the processing time it reduces is incredible. And number two, now because it generates tokens that you can monetize, the amount of money it helps you make is incredible.
Well, why just in the last 24 hours do I hear from GM, do I hear from Disney, do I hear from Cisco, do I hear from BlackRock, do I hear from CrowdStrike, who all of them say, look, our partnership with Jensen is key to our future?
Well, AI is the foundation, the operating system of every single industry going forward. And the reason for that is, of course, everything that we do in life is underpinned by intelligence. And we create, what NVIDIA builds, is the infrastructure for manufacturing digital intelligence.
I don't know what he meant by token. Maybe somebody else here can speak to it. I didn't watch the whole announcement thing yesterday. I think it was yesterday. So I might be missing something that he's referring to, or maybe he's referring from a technical aspect to something. I don't know what the context is.
Now we're looking at this as one.
If somebody in chat knows, throw it out.
One processor. Right. But in our data centers, we announced a way yesterday to connect millions of these together using silicon photonics. And so we now have the ability to go from 100,000 of these things to millions of these things running in the data center at the same time. And that infrastructure, that factory, if you will, is the factory of the future.
Now, I do want to go for a moment before I go to robotics and autonomous vehicles. I want to put on my journalist's corrosive, sardonic hat and say, well, wait a second. What if the
That will allow others to start to catch up to XAI too, which is probably why they're getting. Oh wait, here we go, Danny. Thank you. He said Grok, an AI token, in the context of artificial intelligence and natural language processing, refers to a single unit of meaning used by models like me to process and generate text. Okay. Thank you. It's AI output. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome.
The president puts 25% tariffs on, and Michael Dell is slowed down. HPE, we talked about yesterday, they're slowed down, and it could put a limit, if not a cap, on your growth.
Well, we want to build. We're enthusiastic about building in America as anybody, and so we've been working with TSMC to get them ready for manufacturing chips here in the United States. We also have great partners like Foxconn and Wistron who are working with us to bring manufacturing.
Hey guys, real quickly, I'm up about $90,000 on my MSTU and MSTX plays. I might sell a small amount of that profit from today, like maybe 20, 30,000, just to start to add to my cash positions, just so you know, before FOMC.
Onshore. So long-term, manufacturing onshore is going to be something very, very possible to do, and we'll do it incredibly.
But the Chinese are still a key partner right now. You have a lot of businesses. I would say 17% of your business.
Yeah, in the near term, I would say in the near term, tariffs will not, the impact will not be meaningful, and.
But AI diffusion, like that last initiative by Biden, which said really there are only 18 friendly countries that we want you to do massive business with.
Wow.
That seemed arbitrary, if not judgmental, in a way that I think you and I would say it makes no sense.
As you know, as you just look around here, there are companies from all over the world. AI's gone mainstream.
You guys are great.
AI isn't some magical technology. It's incredible technology.
Well,
but it's used for everything. It's used for healthcare and education and agriculture. And
yesterday, I thought you downplayed Groot. When we think of icons, we think of Groot, and in many ways, you gave that 2.25 minutes. But isn't Groot robot going to save most of the marriages in this country by doing the dishes?
Yeah, you're right. Doing the dishes and taking the trash out. Walking the dogs, you know. And so GROOT stands for General Robotics Technology, GRT, GROOT. And it stands for General Robotics Technology because the technology finally arrived where we could create the AIs. We build them in the data centers. It requires large AI infrastructure to train these robots, simulate these robots in virtual worlds that obeys the laws of physics, and we partnered with Disney and DeepMind, and we created this thing called Newton, which simulates physics incredibly accurately. And then you create this AI in the cloud, in the data center, and then you move the AI brain, if you will, download it digitally into a physical robot. And so the technology that we've been working on for some time is really making enormous progress. Robotics and robotics industries, general robots and other forms of robots, is going to be one of the largest AI infrastructure opportunities for us.
Well, if you can simulate, train, simulate, and run, you're it's going to happen much faster than people realize. When I hear that actually arc of how you can do it, I'm going to buy a robot within the next few years.
Yeah, but you'll rent it. You know,
okay, I'll rent it. I can't afford to buy it.
Well, we'll rent it.
Only the oligarchs can
hire a robot.
No, but you're saying this is going, and the robot is my size.
Yeah.
It can do things that we only dreamed of doing. It's not artifice; it's reality.
And it doesn't get bored. Doesn't get tired. You know?
You sure?
Oh yeah.
Because when I think that they can reason, they want healthcare.
No, they'll want entertainment, and yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll keep them company, and they'll keep us company.
But this is not the dog robot lifting Jello cubes. We're now well past that.
Cute. Yeah, they're incredibly cute, as you know.
I know.
And we can make them do all kinds of.
Oh yeah, and real quickly, Mike said, I find it kind of funny the Nvidia partnering with GM to restart their FSD program. I think if there's anybody that can help legacy auto try and figure out FSD, it's going to be Nvidia. I think it's absolutely stupid for them to try and fucking do that, though. I think these legacy auto companies should be partnering with Tesla. They've got so many other problems just with the physical infrastructure and build out and the manufacturing of these shitty EVs that they're making. to figure out. That's a huge problem in and of itself. They should be tying their ass to Tesla in whatever fucking way they can, because they are shit and they're going to die, especially if they're trying to take this on at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Repetitive work. And seriously, the world is short of tens of millions of workers in factories. And factories would be more than delighted to pay $50,000, $70,000 a year to have some of these robots come in and do the repetitive tasks and all the dangerous work that we'd like not to do.
This is exigency. I think too many people feel that they're going to replace us. They don't realize there's not enough of us.
There's not enough of us, yeah.
Well, okay, so, but you were talking about we need an amount of computation that is easily 100 times more than we thought. So far, so good.
Yes.
Last year. Were we that off last year?
Yeah, we're way off, yeah.
We were. We didn't see.
100 times more compute.
Yeah. We just didn't know how important.
And here's the thing, as we get smarter and smarter and smarter, the levels of compute that are going to be needed, I think, will continue to rise for a while. I see no roof on this.
It is.
Well, we realize that reasoning is very important.
His voice is so bad. You're right, Casper. It is. Kramer, yeah. I used to listen to this guy back in the dot-com bubble. And even back in 2008, this was the guy I got my financial advice from. This is where everybody got their financial advice from. There was no people that you could communicate with. There were no real good forum groups. It just wasn't the same world. We're so much more blessed now than we were back then. Because if you weren't an insider and you didn't know the right people and you weren't a part of the machine, you just didn't have good input.
To intelligence.
It was so bad.
And we realized that one-shot
Mr.
AI
Casper,
that we
too
were
much
using
cocaine will do that.
wasn't
okay.
representative of intelligence, and that we were going to make incredible progress.
Oh,
And,
totally.
last year,
That's what he's
with
doing.
reasoning models coming out,
Yeah, totally.
ChatGPT's reasoning model and others.
Again, if anybody can compete, and I won't even say this, I don't think they can compete with Tesla on this ground, Mike. I don't think they can. But if there's anybody that will be in second place, it is Nvidia. It's Nvidia.
And it
at least not out of China.
Just took off. People love these reasoning models. That we love that it's giving us multiple answers that we can choose from. We love the fact that the AI is reflective of its own answers. And did I answer that question right? And could I have better options that I can present you? And so there's a lot of different ways that the AI has now become much more reasonable.
Okay.
And reasoning. And so that requires a lot more computation, hundreds more time computation. And so this new level of AI is going to demand a lot of chips, which is the reason why
but you're talking
demand
about
for
millions
Blackwell.
of chips. You're talking about data centers. A huge data center? Oh, Larry Ellison data center. How many chips does that need?
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Well, that's millions of dollars for Nvidia.
Every gigawatt of data center is somewhere around $40 to $50 billion of opportunity.
And what percentage does Nvidia get then?
Out of that, every gigawatt is about $40 or $50 billion. $40 to $50 billion.
But I thought that you were in trouble and things are slowing down and the Chinese are taking over, and we should be looking at you and thinking this is a meme stock that's going to 90.
We have a very large opportunity ahead of us.
Okay, so I worry about this. You give a roadmap. I was laughing on the inside. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You give a roadmap, and
what's crazy is the AI is getting so much better too, and the hardware is getting so much better. Between now and 2030, I'm gonna have a robot hanging out with me, guys. I'll probably have a robot that comes in and out to bring my coffee. Maybe it'll give me a piss jar so that I don't have to leave, so that I can do my videos for longer. And it can just hold it while I urinate into it on camera. Sorry, that got weird. But I'm just saying, technology is going to get fucking insane in the next 5 years. It's going to be crazy. I can't even imagine what the world looks like.
And I know about the Vera Rubin, and I'm saying, why don't I just wait for Vera Rubin? Why can't I skip this?
Yeah. Yeah, we better not get a hawkish Powell. That would be bullshit. And it'll be completely unjustified and 100% politically biased.
Blackwell Plus? No, well, forget that. I'm jumping over. And
you guys are great.
Therefore, I'm going to wait till 2027. What do you say to those customers?
Well, this is building an industry and building business, and we're trying to build business
every year.
every
I should
year,
keep my hands clean,
as you know. And it's not like buying.
We're so close to Ready Player One. My biggest fear, and I say this as I'm talking to a screen with, less than 1,000 people watching me right now, is that we'll be so connected to things that we forget to live. And I saw this post recently that was really good. I thought it showed people back when, computers were just kind of newer, how people would get a break and play games and look at the internet to get away from real life, but how that's the exact opposite now. And now people are attached to screens, and to get a break, they go out and they hike and they go fishing and they go swimming and they get out and do stuff with people, and that's how they get away from the machine. And I worry about our connectivity to the machine. I do.
Buying a bicycle. This is something that you're building these
the ties.
AI factories
That's
to
such a
run
funny thing,
your
but you're
company.
right.
You're building these AI factories to run other companies. And so they're going to want your AI factories right now.
I want to argue with Casper. I don't think we need him to mention QE. What we need to have him mention is just that they're going to remove quantitative tightening. That would be enough today. And then if he's remotely on the edge of any kind of dovish interpretation, we're set.
The reason why I lay out our roadmap for several years is because the world is building AI infrastructure, trillions of dollars of it over the next several years.
We can't comprehend.
JT wants 40 porn, evidently. That's his focus right now.
And trillions.
Well, this is the new industrial revolution.
That's cool, Jim. Yeah.
Underpinning an industrial revolution are new factories. And we are the factories of the future.
What are we talking about? We think about Fulton and the steam engine. We think about railroads. Yours is so much bigger than all of those.
Well, the world is bigger now than it was back then, right?
It's
$120
huge.
trillion industry, GDP.
Yes. My friend Andres talks about this. He's like, guys, you have to give higher multiples to companies that are international and that are consuming everything, especially when they're America, okay? Like the Nvidias and the Metas and soon Tesla and just all these companies, they are everywhere. You have to be able to give them a bigger multiplier when they're not just U.S. based. I'm sorry, that's how it works.
Around the world. And now this new factory called AI factories is the underpinning for all of it. And so the idea that $100 trillion of the world's GDP will be underpinned by trillions of dollars of AI factories.
Yes.
It's very sensible.
With Nvidia in
It's
it.
very
That's
sensible.
why we're going to wait and talk more later on Mad Money. And I want to thank the Squawk on the Street 10 o'clock gang for letting me come in here with an eye-opening discussion. Thank you, David. Thank you, Sarah.
All right, that was cool. And it sounds like they've got a tariff guy talking right now about NVIDIA saying that that AI or saying basically that tariffs shouldn't be a big problem for them in the meantime, and I think that's great. Waiting for the Parlay Builder AI announcement so my beta can start hitting. Bets can start hitting. Okay. Gemini Net, JT, that is amazing and a space I would invest a lot of money into without wanting big returns. Hey guys, is there a good all-in-one AI ETF? Just curious. Looking for asymmetric bets that can do really well, and AI's probably just been brutalized. I haven't looked at the stock. Where's my boy? Was it Jorge or who was it? Was it Victor? Who was talking about AI all the time and all the artificial intelligence plays? Who was it? It's one of you motherfuckers. Or I'm sorry, quantum and that shit. Anybody who's got is there an ETF for like quantum and just a bunch of other stuff? Just curious. Anyway, let me know. Hit something in the chat if there is. Otherwise, though, guys, I think banana. Is that banana 3 stocks? How many bananas are there? METV. What is that? Is that it? Mike, the Global X Artificial Intelligence and Technology ETF, AIQ. Look at MBIS stock. Boy, you guys are just giving me a ton of shit. I didn't really expect all that. I will take a screenshot of this real quick because I'm trying to look for good hedging strategies. I'm also trying to look for other asymmetric bets that could pump that don't give me single market player risk. You know what I mean? So I'm all about that. Anyway, I did take $25,000 in MSTX and turned it into some cash. So I've added a little bit to my cash position. Still, even with the stuff I just cashed out, I'm still sitting up almost $70,000, even with the 25 I just took out. So it's been a good day so far. And that's just off of MSTX and MSTU. So that's been a good day. But yeah, I think I'm probably going to stop right here. So I'll check out some of these AI related investments too. And then again, I'll see you guys at 1. I'll create another video here and probably get that going around 1 o'clock. Otherwise, I got stuff to do. I got a lot of stuff to do. So love you guys. Appreciate you. And again, I'll see you later. And then tomorrow, we might have a shortened stream just because I got to help pick up the Model 3 for my nephew. And he's fucking stoked about it. So, all right. Peace out, guys. I will talk to you later. Have a good rest of your day. Otherwise, I'll see you at 1.